it's another one of those days in Milwaukee. Rain, wind, cold, but you know you come to Miller Park. We're playing ball. The roof is closed. Perfect conditions for the Pirates and the Brewers game 2 of their series here in Milwaukee. Pitching matchup, the lefty Chris Narveson and the right-hander Jeff Carstens. Narveson looking for his first win in more than a month as he looks to change his fortunes around. And Carstens, one of several Pirate pitchers who is winless when facing the Brewers. Hi, everybody. Our broadcast continues of Brewers baseball here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Brewers remain home. They've had a good homestand so far, and they want to keep it that way. In fact, over the last 10 games at home, they're 6-4. And it's important that they keep building because of all the home games ahead. After Sunday, they go on the road out west for 4, but back to Miller Park for 6 more. They are 11-6 wearing the home whites, and they have to make up ground after a rough start on the road so far in 2011, doing the job and doing it well, especially against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Brew Crew catching on with Jonathan Lucroy. He has quietly made significant strides behind the plate and alongside in the batter's box as well. B and Rock tell you why.
Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Triple Hopped Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By AT&T. And brought to you by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toyota territory at Miller Park. A big crowd, a sellout crowd perhaps, filing into Miller Park today, and a Saturday afternoon ball game, the Brewers and the Pirates. There is Jonathan Lucroy, hit his second home run of the year last night in a 5-2 Brewers win. Bottom of the order representing 4 of the 5 runs last night. Welcome back from Miller Park. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Rock, I think we are watching the maturation of a catcher right before our eyes. Player development can be a very tricky business, but Jonathan Lucroy comes to town known as a hitter-first catcher, and he's looked like he's doing it on both sides right now.
Yeah, you're seeing player development at the big league level with Lucroy. He's only 24 years old, and he's still learning on the job. Doing a nice job as a game caller, but right now in that number 8 spot in the batting order, which arguably could be the toughest spot in any batting order, batting in front of that pitcher, has done a nice job. You see the batting average, his on-base percentage at almost .380. So Jonathan's having a good homestand, 6 for 10. He had a 9-game hitting streak after coming off the disabled list. He's looking very good at the plate.
.324 average, the best on the ball club right now. He's back in the starting lineup today. The Brewers trying to keep it going against Pittsburgh. They're looking for their second straight at home and their fourth straight overall against the Pirates. Saturday matinee coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. The homestand continues, and the Brewers are hoping the domination continues over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Going back to the 07 season, Milwaukee 31-3 and nearly a 300 team batting average against the Pirates here at Miller Park over that stretch. Scoring a lot of runs. We saw more of the same last night as the Brewers won 5-2. They won the opener behind Yovani Gallardo. John Axford picked up the save, and we're set for game 2 this afternoon. The roof is closed on a cool, rainy, windy afternoon in Milwaukee. And there you see Clint Hurdle, the first-year manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. In his 9th season as a big league skipper, former manager of the Colorado Rockies. And here is his batting order today with Andrew McCutchen, Jose Tabata, and Neil Walker at the top 3. Ryan Doumit, Matt Diaz, and Lyle Overbay in the middle with Pedro Alvarez, Ronnie Cedeno, and Jeff Karstens rounding it out. Piggly Wiggly batting order. That will face left-hander Chris Narveson, Bill.
Yeah, Narveson, his last couple of starts haven't been all that bad. At Houston and at St. Louis, all coming on the last road trip. 6 innings in each of his last 2 and allowed 6 earned runs. Pretty good his last time out against the Cardinals.
He has been the victim of very little run support this year. The Brewers are just 1-6 in games that Narveson starts. Narveson ready to go against Andrew McCutchen. And the first pitch in there for a strike. Away we go. That is Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire. Chris Conroy, Brian O'Nora, Alfonso Marquez on the bases. The crew chief is Brian O'Nora. And strike two. Narveson with a good fastball. He relies on that changeup. That's his bread and butter pitch. Had a good game against St. Louis. The Brewers were in the throes of a terrible slump at the plate as a team on that last road trip, and it played over into Narveson's start on Sunday. Little bouncer, Weeks just gets McCutchen out number one. Check the defense behind Chris Narveson. It's brought to you by Blaine's Farm and Fleet. You see Braun, Brandon Boggs, and Mark Kotze in the outfield. Casey McGee, Craig Counsell, Ricky Weeks, and Prince Fielder. And the battery is Jonathan Lucroy and Chris Narveson. And a couple of changes defensively for Milwaukee today. Counsell gets the call at short for Betancourt. No Corey Hart in the lineup. And no Carlos Gomez in the lineup today.
Well, a few more left-handed bats in that lineup. Brandon Boggs gets to start in center. He's a switch hitter. Kotze, Counsell. You can add the left-handers in with Prince in that batting order against the right-hander Carsons today.
As Jose Tabata hits for Pittsburgh, we see Gomez and Betancourt. Now, Ron Renicky saying earlier today it's not necessarily about matchups left or right, but it's more about making sure your bench stays fresh, make sure your bench players get their at-bats, and today 3 bench players are in there. And they'll get a chance with some consistent at-bats while the starters watch. It does give Renicky some pop on his bench, especially with Corey Hart.
Yeah, Corey Hart's still in somewhat of a spring training mode, so he can't play every day quite yet. Starting to swing the bat much better. Well, you would expect that. Didn't have any spring training. Yeah, Gomez and Betancourt, tough day at the office yesterday, so you sit him down and let him watch this one, at least in the beginning.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Tabata. Fouls it away. Count stays the same. Now the Pirates coming here 18-20. They've been a good road team this year. That loss last night withstanding, they are still 11-9 on the road. And the Brewers are looking up at the Pirates in the National League Central to start play today. That one's hit pretty well. Back is Boggs with room. Out number 2.
That changeup's been a very good pitch for Narveson. It was a changeup that Tabata just hit into center field. He was a little bit out in front. Yep, the cutter, the changeup. He's struggled a bit with his curveball lately.
Here is Neil Walker. The Pirates mixing up their lineup a little bit as well. Garrett Jones hit third yesterday, a left-handed batter. Jones has been in a platoon with Matt Diaz. So Walker, who hit cleanup yesterday, has typically been in that run producer spot. Now hits third for Pittsburgh. Walker still trying to regain his strength as well. He's been out with the flu. That was earlier in the week. The Pirates were at home against the Dodgers.
And Clint Hurdle still trying to find a lineup that's going to be consistent in scoring runs. Now, the reason that the Pirates are only 2 games under 500 at this point is because of their pitching, particularly their bullpen. It's been very good. Offense has been very hit or miss.
That one's hit well. Left field. Back is Braun. And he's there for it. And Walker is retired. A 3-up, 3-down start for Narveson. And now the Brewers coming up against the Buccos. Is all closed up. Unusual start time today. Narveson a 3-up, 3-down first. Now Ron Renicky ready to send out his Milwaukee Brewers tonight. It is Ricky Weeks, Craig Counsell, Ryan Braun at the top. Middle of the order is Fielder, McGee, and Kotze, with Brandon Boggs, the switch hitter, Jonathan Lucroy, and Chris Narveson, the Piggly Wiggly batting order. That will face right-hander Jeff Karstens.
Yeah, Karstens making his 6th start, 9 appearances overall. Karsten started in the bullpen for the Pirates. His first 3 appearances were as a reliever. A 2-1 record, a .362 earned run average. He has allowed 5 home runs this year. Not a guy that pitches too deep into ball games ordinarily.
Karstens has been filling in for Ross Ohlendorf, who's out with an injury, one of the Pirates starters. And he's done a nice job in that role. His first pitch is in there for a strike on Ricky Weeks. Weeks had a good night last night. Comes in batting .295. Weeks was on base 4 times last night in 5 trips to the plate. 2 hits, 2 walks. And his on base percentage now at .369. He's pretty much hovered around that .370, .365 mark all season, which is important for a leadoff hitter.
Last year too, Ricky, good patience at the plate, able to get on base. .370, outstanding these days. Has an on base percentage for anybody, particularly leadoff hitter.
And especially for a guy who brings the power element to that spot as well. Weeks has 7 home runs, 3rd on the ball club behind Braun and Fielder. Last year, Weeks hit 29 home runs. And a shot back up the middle. That's a base hit. And a good start. Ricky Weeks singles to get things going offensively for the Brewers. Let's check the Pirates defensively. Tabata, McCutchen, and Diaz in the outfield. Pedro Alvarez and Ronnie Cedeno on the left side, with Neil Walker and Lyle Overbay on the right. Ryan Doumit does the catching here today, the switch hitting catcher. Catching Jeff Karstens at 2-1 record. Karstens figures to stay in the starting rotation. It's going to be a while for Ohlendorf until he returns. They're talking about maybe another month. Craig Counsell gets the call today at short. Counsell got off to a very rough start at the plate. He was 1 for his first 14, but since he's hit at a .333 clip, has 8 hits in his last 24 at bats. So it appears that Counsell has weathered the storm of a slow start.
Yeah, it's tough. Guys like Counsell, they play just about every day in spring training, come in late, maybe get some starts, and once the season begins, they don't get a whole lot of playing time, and they kind of get rusty. And that's what happened to Craig Counsell. Since that time, he's been getting a little bit more playing time. Not a bad guy to fill in at shortstop.
Well, Ron Renicky says he loves the versatility of Counsell, and still at 40 plus, he's a guy you can put anywhere. You can put him at second, short, or third. As a matter of fact, Counsell even played left field for the first time this year. Just has a good feel for the game and is a very good defender. Makes all the plays, doesn't make mistakes. And that's what you have to have, a balanced bench, guys you can plug in certain scenarios. Not a bad idea to drop a bunt down. Ball and 2 strikes on Counsell. Counsell hitting .237 overall, has a couple of driven in. Limited playing time. He is the franchise leader in pinch hits. And that one's hit sharply to center, but right at McCutchen. Line drive out for Craig Counsell. Our Nissan keys on tonight's starting pitcher comes from Brewers hitting coach Dale Swain.
Well, he's got all 4 pitches. He throws a kind of a running, sinking fastball anywhere from 87 to 91. Going to be about 88 to 89 most of the time. pretty good command of his breaking balls, his slider and his curveball. He's going to be able to throw it any time and command it down and away and off the plate, and also throw it for a strike when he has to. And also has a fairly straight changeup that he has pretty good command of.
And he just threw the changeup to Craig Counsell, but Craig able to wait back and hit it pretty hard. Carstens is a controlled pitcher. He doesn't strike out many. At least, throughout his history, he hasn't been a big strikeout pitcher, but he doesn't like to come inside all that often against right-handed batters. He's going to predominantly work away.
28-year-old right-hander. This is his 6th start, 9th appearance of the season. Rock mentioned he began the year in the bullpen. No, Ryan Braun, despite only 1 hit yesterday, 1 for 5, he drove in 3 runs. And Braun comes in with 28 RBIs. He is 1 behind Prince Fielder. Both Braun and Fielder in the top 5 in the National League at runs batted in to start play today. The dynamic duo. Braun rips one right at Walker. That is going to be no. Weeks is back in there. A high throw from Walker. The Pirates had a double play right in front of him.
Well, perfectly positioned for Ryan Braun. He hit it right on the screws. Well, hitting in some tough luck on this homestand. Braun's average could be a lot higher, but bad throw. Defense has not been the friend of the Pirates so far this year. They committed 1 error last night, but really it should have been 2. They gave Casey McGee a hit on a ground ball that was kicked at third base. That should have been a double play.
So 2 men are out, and here is Fielder now. A couple of line drive outs in this first inning. The Brewers squaring up Jeff Carstens early. Season numbers on Fielder: 8 homers, 29 RBIs. Fielder is 4th in the National League. The league leader is Ryan Howard to start play today. He has 35 ribbies. Then Berkman, then Hunter Pence, and then Fielder. Braun's right behind him.
It's amazing, right? The last place Houston Astros in the Central, they got 14 wins, and they got 2 guys in the top 5 in RBIs. Go figure. I should say 1. Hunter Pence.
Pence with 31 ribbies for Houston. He's about the only one driving in any runs for the Astros.
It's hard for me to say Lance Berkman's name and not associate him with Houston.
Yeah, Lance Berkman, the Cardinal.
The Cardinal. Right.
McGee will be next. Fielder in a 2-ball, 1-strike count with Weeks still at first. And Carstens misses low. We saw it last night. The Pirates content to pitch around Fielder. Prince, admittedly so, said he may have went out of the strike zone too much last night. Fielder did draw a walk in last night's game, but the Pirates weren't as eager to go right after Fielder, especially early in counts. And Carstens walks Fielder, and now Casey McGee moves into the spotlight. Casey with just 2 homers on the Powerball home run leaderboard. You see Braun with 10. Braun's tied for 2nd in the league. Fielder in a tie for 5th in the National League. But here is the key bat. You figure Braun and Fielder will get theirs. But if the Brewers are going to go offensively, if they're going to be one of the top offensive clubs in the National League, which they should be, which many feel they will be, it has to be guys like McGee and Corey Hart. Hart not in the lineup today, but those ancillary pieces around Braun and Fielder.
And the opposition less likely to pitch around Prince when you have Casey McGee up there driving in runs like he did last year. Well, Casey not happy with the way he has been able to start out, but he's still hitting at 266. I mean, nothing wrong with that. There have been some situations where there have been men on base where he has not been able to drive him in.
So breaking ball from Carstens. No balls and 2 strikes.
71 miles an hour on this breaking pitch. Just catches the outside corner.
Brewers looking for an early run today. Second game of this 3-game series with Pittsburgh. And McGee goes down the line foul. We had a chance to talk to Casey yesterday. Had a visit with him on Brewers Live, and he recognizes that he's off to a bit of a slow start. He's had some big moments, though. He's actually been pretty good with runners in scoring position this year. His numbers with RISP much higher than his overall batting average. His big moment came here against the Cubs earlier this season when he homered against Kerry Wood, giving the Brewers an 8th inning lead and a dramatic comeback win. And there are the numbers: a .333 hitter with runners in scoring position. Fastball got him. McGee surprised by a sidearm fastball from Karstens. And the inning is over. The Brewers strand a pair. They get a hit and a walk. And McGee's troubles at the plate continue. Fooled him.
The Brewers made a roster move following last night's game. Brandon Kinsler was placed on the 15-day disabled list with right tricep tendonitis, and Tim Dillard's contract was selected from AAA Nashville. Ron Renicky addressed the new addition to his bullpen, and he said Tim Dillard will more than likely get a lot of the long relief duties because the guy who occupied that spot in Marco Estrada has pitched so well, he has earned the opportunity to pitch in some late inning games. He said ideally he'd like to have Estrada pitch the 6th and 7th innings because he can see that after one inning he gets stronger. So the Brewers add some depth to their bullpen. Brian?
Yeah, certainly, Telly. And it's a good point by the manager, and you can call it a promotion for Marco Estrada, who continues to pitch so impressively that he is earning these crucial roles now. Estrada was great as a starter. Last night he went 2 scoreless innings, retired 6 in a row, and was able to bridge the gap from Yovani Gallardo to John Axford, and that allowed Renicky and Rick Kranitz to rest that bullpen one more day. Bouncing ball by Domet. Weeks makes a play for the out. The shift pays off for the Brewers against the switch hitter, and one away in the second.
Hey, for every strikeout recorded at Miller Park this season, Foley and Lardner will make a donation to the Hunger Task Force. Join us in thanking them for their support in striking out hunger. How about that positioning for Ricky Weeks, huh? I mean, talk about a scouting report. Garth Ord's doing a heck of a job. I mean, he didn't have to move. That ball was right at him on the shortstop side of second base, and an easy out.
It's taken away more than it's given up, that extreme shift the Brewers have put in place. As you see Matt Diaz, and when you see the Brewers play it straight away like they do at Diaz, it's a pretty good indication of his tendencies as he singles into left field, a base hit. first base runner for the Pirates.
And Matt Diaz has always done well. He's made a career out of hitting left-handed pitching. In the lineup today against Narveson, able to beat the shift, hit it hard out of the reach of Counsell. That's a pretty good hitter.
So Diaz at first base for Lyle Overbay, who's dropped down in the order. We saw the Pirates earlier this year, and Overbay was at the top of the order, hitting 3 or 4. Now he's in the 6th spot for the 2nd consecutive day. He's scuffling at the plate as well. Overbay overall is hitting .232, but most of his trouble is coming against left-handed pitching. Batting just .161 against southpaws this year. Just 1 RBI against left-handers.
Yeah, and you remember when Overbay was a Brewer, he was here 2 years, and the way he was able to use left field, did a good job against lefties. Maybe trying to pull the ball a little bit too much. Of course, his numbers against right-handers not that great either.
Overbay did have 2 hits yesterday. Might be one of the reasons Clint Hurdle runs him back out there against a lefty. You know he wants to throw it back. Or he wants to eat it. One of the two. Oh, and 2 the count on Overbay. Fielder backhands it to second for 1. The turn. And it's not in time.
Nicely done, Prince Fielder. That was not an easy play. And Diaz got a pretty good jump on contact, but Prince able to go over toward the hole, scoop it, and make a nice throw to Counsell. Well done by Prince, getting the lead runner. Good throw, and no chance at first base.
See, Diaz did a good job going in there heavy on Counsell and took all of his momentum and his arm speed away. And Overbay beats it down the line. So 2 outs. Here is Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez, a big man at the plate. He has big power as well. He's only hit 1 home run this year, but he is projected to be a 20+ home run performer in the major leagues. 6'3", 235. Brock talked about developing at the major league level in our open today, and this is a perfect example of a guy who's still trying to figure out how to be a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, we saw him last year, and he's got pretty good opposite field power. He still struggles over there defensively at third base, but you can tell he's got the skills to be a good defender over there at third. He's got a good arm. He's got decent range. He did not make a play in yesterday that was given a base hit. Initially scored an error, but you can see the kid's got some ability.
Number 2 pick overall in the 2008 draft, and he waves at a breaking ball from Chris Narveson. So Narveson with 2 scoreless on the board. He picks up his first strikeout Get up, get up, get out of here, gone. The Brewers would love to light up that sign tonight as Kotsay rips one to right on the first pitch. And Mark Kotsay rewarding his manager with the start right away. A base hit to get the second inning going.
Yeah, another guy that got off to a slow start this year, but as the at-bats mounted up and he got a few starts, able to rip a bullet into right. And first pitch, a sinker up in the zone at 88 miles an hour.
Kotsay started in center field on Wednesday. Tonight gets the call in right field. And here's Brandon Boggs, switch hitting center fielder. Boggs got stuck behind Nelson Cruz and Josh Hamilton a year ago. That loaded outfield for the Texas Rangers. He spent most of the year in AAA. When he was in the big leagues, his hitting coach was Clint Hurdle. Hurdle left the Rangers to manage the Pirates. Kotsay takes off, and the throw to second. He's not in time. Kotsay steals second base. Ronnie Cedeno arguing with Brian O'Nora, saying he got a glove on his helmet, perhaps.
Well, and here comes Clint Hurdle. Well, the Pirates were given a break in yesterday's ball game on a tag by Betancourt on Tabata at second base. So the second base umpire says, yes, indeed, you got him, but it was late. Saying that Kotsay was already on the bag. I'm not sure how you argue that. So the umpire never saying that he missed the tag. It's just late. It was a pretty good athletic play by the Pirates shortstop. You can't see where second base is, but he did get a tag on the shoulder.
Can you ask Brian O'Nora to stand just slightly to his left next time?
How rude.
So a runner at second, and Boggs a chance to drive in a run. He slaps one foul and out of play.
Yeah, Ryan Doman has always had a tough time throwing out base runners. Last year, he really struggled. This year, only 3 for 17 in throwing out base runners. That's around 19%.
It's not good. It was an automatic out if the throw is anywhere in the vicinity. But the tag on the shoulder, Kotsay steals his first, and a base hit should give the Brewers the lead. Boggs making just his second career start in center field, with the red-hot Lucroy coming up next. Boggs was with the big league club in Atlanta. Then when Nyjer Morgan returned from the disabled list, he was sent back down. Morgan got hurt in the second game back, and Boggs, who had never even left the area, rejoined the team. Morgan out with that broken finger. Happened on a bunt attempt. 2-2 to Boggs.
And Nyjer Morgan, a valuable weapon for Ron Renicky that he misses. I mean, it's been nothing but bad luck for Nyjer Morgan so far this year. He was off to a red hot start.
Morgan was injured originally against the Pirates back in April in a collision with Doman at the plate. It was a thigh bruise, and now the broken finger. Here comes a 3-2, and Boggs pulls it to the right side, and a productive out. So Boggs advances Kotsay to third base, and here comes Jonathan Lucroy. We had a chance to hear from Ron Renicky about the position in the batting order of Jonathan Lucroy.
He's done a great job, especially in the 8th spot, which I think, in the National League, it's really important, and people don't realize that it is, because you need to get that pitcher up there in the inning. You don't want to start off with the pitcher leading off innings. So as long as he can get on base and get that pitcher up there next, it's really important with the things that we do in our offense. He's been driving the ball. He's walking. I think in history, you look at his walk strikeout ratio, they're pretty close. So I think eventually he can be a second hitter, and right now I kind of like what he's doing.
And why wouldn't he? He's got a .380 on base percentage, or very close to it. He's had a very good homestand, 6 for 10. And remember, he did not get an at bat in spring training. Only got 11 at bats in rehab, and he is off to a very good start.
.324 hitter to start the day. His second homer yesterday. Both of his home runs have been pulled down the left field line. Pirates are bringing their infield in early today. And a spinner from Karstens. That's the second time Karstens has dropped down to that 3/4 delivery that we have not seen from him.
And we saw him strike out Casey McGee on a fastball, and that was a slider that didn't do anything. It was kind of a backup slider on the inside corner.
Brewers trying to manufacture a run from the bottom of their order. And Lucroy swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. Well, Lucroy last night, Powerball home run number 2.
Yep, down and in, and Jonathan able to drop the head of the bat on it. He was robbed of a base hit his last time up. He had 2 hits. Could have had 3, but the ball hit second base, went right up to Walker, who was able to make the play at first.
Kotze still standing at third. The Brewers have not had a lot of success driving in that runner with 1 out as Narveson rolls over one to Neil Walker, and the inning is over. So Karstens has pitched out of a couple of jams. Still scoreless. We go to the third.
Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Subway. Try our $5 featured footlong of the month. Subway, where winners eat.
Roof is closed on a Saturday afternoon at Miller Park. The Brewers and the Pirates, and we're pleased to be joined now in that first base dugout by last night's winner, Yovani Gallardo. Yo, congratulations on the win. It's your 4th, and I'm always confused what to talk with you about, your hitting or your pitching. You did both very well last night.
Yeah, you know, it's obviously the pitching is the most important part, so let's talk about the pitching first.
Tell us about your night. How'd you feel about your performance last night?
I felt good. You know, I had my off-speed stuff working for me. You know, I ran into some trouble there in the second inning, but I was able to get out of it with more runs and, you know, give my team a chance to win, come up and hit. And, you know, Lucroy hit that solo home run there in the third inning.
You know, the pants are a big story back in St. Louis. Now, are those your specially made pants, or are those still Marco Estrada's pants you're wearing?
No, those are still not my pants. I don't have those pants. They're just they showed up yesterday. They were in my locker, so I picked them out, threw them on. So I didn't even read the name behind them.
Now, I would never ask you this question if you're going to be pitching tomorrow or the next day against the Pirates, but you guys as a team have had a lot of success against the Pirates. You in particular have had a lot of success against Pittsburgh. Is it the matchups, the guys out there, or is it just that confidence level that you get seeing a Pirate uniform against you?
You know what? I really don't know. I mean, I think it's just, you know, like they mentioned that to me yesterday, and I had no idea about the numbers that I had against these guys. You know, it's, you know, just still prepare the same way. Like no matter who it is, just go out there and give my team hopefully an opportunity to win.
Well, you're 4-0 over the last 2 years against the Pirates, if you're wondering. Tell us about Chris Narveson, and when you watch from the side, especially a day after you pitch, what do you look for in Chris Narveson, and how do you gauge how he's going along today?
He's doing great. Like I said, he's got great stuff. He's able to mix in his curveball, cutter, and especially his changeup. Keep hitters off balance, and he throws the ball very, very well. He prepares. He mixes his pitches up pretty good and keeps the hitters guessing.
I asked Casey McGee this yesterday, but I'm anxious to hear your perspective from the pitching side. But the identity of this team, you guys went through a rough stretch, losing 7 in a row, seem to have turned it around now. What do you feel like is the identity of this team now? Do you feel it's important? Are you starting to see things come together?
Yeah, of course. It's just like you said, we had a rough week there on the road, but we stuck together. We're sticking together and keep moving forward. It's obviously the guys are swinging the bats a lot better. We're pitching a lot better, so it's it's just a matter of time to get those two things going and keep moving forward.
All right, Yovani Gallardo, I appreciate your time, and will you do us a favor once you're off the headsets? Will you take your hat off for us so we can see your new haircut? I heard it's quite the story.
All right, I will do that.
All right, we'll be watching. We'll have the cameras on you. Thank you. It's Yovani Gallardo, and we appreciate him joining us. He won't take it off. There he is. It's kind of the it's kind of a modified mohawk, I think.
A classy mohawk, right?
The tight sidewalls.
Looks better than your standard mohawk.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even call it a mohawk.
Not so much contrast.
It's a yo-hawk.
Very nice, Rock. Narveson, after a long battle with Cedeno, finally strikes him out.
I think you and I should get a couple of yo-hawks. If the team goes on a nice stretch. I think you would look good with one.
I've been known. A couple of yo-hawks and a couple of green jackets.
I'm telling you.
We'd be ready to go.
Styling.
Now Narveson, a 10-pitch at bat against Cedeno, finally strikes him out. Now facing the pitcher Karstens. A little flare into center field. That's going to fall, a base hit. So the Pirates pitcher comes up with a single. Hey, a reminder, this week NASCAR on Fox moves to Dover, where Kyle Busch will try to defend his title and take home his 3rd checkered flag of the year. Coverage of the FedEx 400 benefiting autism begins tomorrow with pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut. That'll be at 11:30 a.m. Central in high definition, only on Fox. A 1-out base runner. Second hit for the Pirates against Narveson. Back to the top of the order in McCutchen. McCutchen is hitless in the series. 0 for 5 now. Ton of ground ball outs as well. 4 ground ball outs, 1 strikeout. And Narveson would love nothing more than to get one on the ground here.
Been doing a lot of swings and misses on pitches out of the strike zone as McCutchen in this series. That was a good changeup by Narby. Down and away, out of the strike zone, and McCutchen with a big swing.
Fastball strike inside corner. McCutchen couldn't pull the string on it, and it's 1-2.
Change up away, you come right back with a fastball in to straighten them up. Let's see what they do here.
Narveson has good command early. Went back to the changeup. McCutchen didn't bite. It's a pretty good pitch, though.
It's right where you want it. And not much a hitter can do with that pitch.
The watchful eye of Rick Kranitz. Good crowd today. Looks like a sellout from our seat. I don't see many empty green seats at all.
Good day to be inside for a ball game, right?
Yeah. Comfortable inside Miller Park.
What else is there to do on a day like today?
Here's the 2-2. McCutchen takes it upstairs. Full count to the speedy Andrew McCutchen. Pirates are desperately awaiting McCutchen to arrive. He's hit for some power, has 7 homers this year, and he's driven in 19, so he's been fairly productive, but a batting average of just .227. That one's hit well. Braun is over, and Braun is there on a bullet from McCutchen. Braun runs it down for the second out.
Yeah, did a nice job, waiting for a strike with a 1-ball 2-strike count. Got it to 2-2. Narveson gave him a fastball, and McCutchen hit it right on the nose. A good at bat by McCutchen, the leadoff hitter. Hey, you wonder how productive McCutchen is going to be in that leadoff spot. Not sure how much the bottom of this order is going to be able to get on base. But I guess you're stuck. You don't have anybody else that can lead off.
Strike 1 to Jose Tabata. Every manager would love to have Ricky Henderson lead off.
But I thought you were going to say Ricky Weeks.
Or him.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can't. I mean, there's no comparing the two of those guys. I mean, Ricky Henderson was probably the best leadoff hitter of all time. 4-something on base percentage, combination of power. But you look at Ricky Weeks, when you talked about the combination of power and on base percentage, amongst the best in baseball.
With all of the assets, you have to give something typically, and for Ricky Weeks in particular, it is a high strikeout total, but he does get on base a lot, and he does kind of change how a pitcher deals with a leadoff hitter with that power threat. I think Clint Hurdle's going for the same thing with Andrew McCutchen.
You talk about identity. I think that Clint Hurdle's trying to develop an identity for this Pirates club, and first and foremost, get out of that stigma of losing. That's a tough culture to change.
So interesting to watch both teams handle the questions of the Brewers' domination of the Pirates since '07. 31-3 over that time. Neither club, neither manager wants to talk about it. And the two first-year managers don't have any history with it. Clint Hurdle was pretty adamant. He says, as far as I'm concerned, we're 0-1 against Milwaukee at Miller Park. His Rockies teams over the years had a lot of success here. Hurdle spent 8 years with the Colorado Rockies as their skipper. Only one winning season, and that winning season was a big one. They went all the way to the World Series that year. It was '07. They had that great finish to the year, winning, 21 of the last 22, and a National League pennant. Now in his first year in Pittsburgh, there was a lot of talk that Clint Hurdle, wherever he would end up, whether it be the Mets or the Pirates, his bench coach was going to be Jerry Narron. He was the Brewers bench coach. Runner goes, pitch is just inside, maybe a little low. Tabata draws the walk. And 2 men are on with 2 outs here in the third.
Well, good eye by Tabata, clearly down in the strike zone, but had the plate. Extends the inning for Neil Walker. Yep, is low, barely.
Excellent eye from Tabata. Now Narveson has to deal with the Pirates' best hitter. And a changeup for a strike. Walker flew out to Braun in left field in the first inning. Had a home run swing. He just missed it on the bat by an inch or so.
Yeah, a little change up that kept it in the ballpark. Yeah, switch hitters back-to-back in this lineup. Walker and Domit, both of them better as a right-handed batter.
Walker hitting .344 as a right-hander. As Narveson goes up the ladder, a fastball strikes him out. So both teams have had runners on base and in scoring position. Both have yet to cash in. The Brewers are coming up, top of the order. Ricky Weeks leads off when we come back.
Second pitch, I actually gave the bunt sign, and they have the option that when somebody crashes on them, they can swing.
Every time you get that opportunity to turn the batting order around, it's huge.
And it was just a fastball. It was kind of down and then a little bit. And I just kind of golfed it up out of there. Just tried to hit it hard. And I was in an advantage count right there, and I was just trying to get the head out and hit it hard somewhere.
Some of the post-game sound from last night, Brewers Live post-game, and you can catch it once again today after our ball game. And if not, you can always log on to foxsportswisconsin.com and hear from the particulars.
Yeah, 8 and 9 in the batting order last night for the Brewers. They were on base 5 times and scored 4 runs. Very productive down at the bottom.
Now the Brewers have now won 7 straight against Pittsburgh at Miller Park. They won 17 in a row at one point till that was snapped last year. They picked up right where they left off. You were talking about one team's domination of the other. You were referencing your playing days, and you would remember that you guys had good success against Baltimore. Back when Schroeder played, the Brewers were 22-6 in that stretch.
Man, it was a stretch of 11 in a row at County Stadium against Baltimore.
And so think about 22-6,
right?
But compare that to 31-3.
It's hard to imagine. I mean, when you're going through that, the team that's doing the winning really doesn't think about it a whole lot. You really don't want to really acknowledge it, because as soon as you start thinking about it and talking about it, it's going to come to an end. But the team that's getting beat that badly over that long of a stretch, I mean, that starts getting into your head, and you come to the ballpark thinking to yourself, what's going to happen today? I mean, how are they going to beat us today? I mean, you don't talk about it outwardly. You don't talk about it, a couple of guys around the batting cage, but you're thinking that on your way to the ballpark.
31-3, and it's not even close. A distant second. Brewers are also on this board with Washington as well, but I did think it was refreshing that Ron Renicky actually was really the first and only one to kind of point out that, yeah, it does get in your head a little bit.
No doubt.
And Renicky was referencing his time with the Angels, going to Boston playing the Red Sox. As Counsell bounces one over to Overbay. And 2 men are out for Jeff Karstens in the third.
Hey, a reminder, you can visit your local Lowe's to cast your MLB All-Star fan ballot and enter to win a trip to the All-Star Game compliments of Scott's. Nice of Scott's.
That's a nice commercial they have on national television.
Makes you want to get your yard all tightened up, doesn't it?
It's kind of a familiar voice. It's a good job, by the way.
Everybody needs a good Scotsman, Rock. Here's Braun with 2 away. Braun lined out in the first inning. Hit one sharply right to the second baseman Walker. Broken bat. Ronnie Cedeno makes a play. Karstens his best inning so far. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the 4th.
That focuses on a pitcher's duel, starting with Pittsburgh's Jeff Karstens and Chris Narveson. Both guys with similar numbers, 3 strikeouts through 3 innings. Both pitchers have allowed 2 hits, and only one player in today's game has reached third base, and that's the Brewers' Mark Kotsay. So we got a pitching battle on the bump here today, B.A.
All right, Telly, thanks. As Narveson is back on the mound, he'll start his 4th inning of work against Ryan Domet. Both pitchers have flirted with a little trouble in this game. Karstens had 2 on in the first inning and a runner at third base in the second inning, but pitched around it. Narveson stranding a pair last inning, and a big strikeout of Neil Walker with 2 on and 2 out. Domet hitting .429 as a right-handed batter this year. His overall batting average is .288. And you heard Rock talk about the struggles behind the plate, especially throwing the ball. Well, he catches because he hits, and he is a good hitter, and the Brewers know that all too well.
There's a back-to-back nights, home runs against Trevor Hoffman last year, and literally hit one from his knees. Went down and got a change up from Trevor, and won a ball game.
Tied 1 and won 1 for the Pirates a season ago. Helped snap that long losing streak for the Pirates here at Miller Park last year. Chris Snyder is the everyday catcher, but Domet plays a lot. It's not necessarily a strict platoon. It's about a 3-2 grid there for Hurdle as Domet breaks his bat. Little soft liner over to McGee. 1 away in the 4th. And our carsoup.com email the booth question comes from Jack in Green Bay. Is there a minimum temperature for the roof to be open at Miller Park? That's a good question.
I don't think there's actually a minimum. I think it's just a comfort level, right?
Yeah, the temperature, depending on wind chill, depending on rain. If it's a bright, sunny, 60-degree day,
it'd be open.
They'll open it up. And they did that earlier on this homestand. What was that? Was that against the Padres?
I think so. But we are ready to see this roof open on a regular basis. Crazy, crazy weather in the Midwest.
All over baseball, especially in the central part of the country out east. That's where most of the rain has been, and baseball games being rained out just about on a nightly basis. I was talking to Tim Dillard before the game. He arrived here from Nashville, and he said they were in a long rain delay last night. They had over a 2-hour rain delay, and he was informed that he could go home and pack, so he stayed for the first few innings. Then they told him he was going to the big leagues, and Tim Dillard didn't see the conclusion of the game in Nashville last night. He is in the Brewers bullpen once again.
Yep. Tim Dillard here. Brandon Kinsler on the disabled list. That right elbow inflammation. He's not ready to pitch, so Kinsler's on the DL.
By the way, that disabled list entry is retroactive for Brandon Kinsler back to the 5th of May. So he's already a week into it. It's the last time Kinsler pitched. Speaking of the minor leagues, though, Scooter Gennett had a great night last night, Rock. Playing for Brevard County, 4 for 5, 3 RBIs. Brevard County won last night. They beat Charlotte, and Gennett now hitting .319.
Yeah.
We saw him a little bit this spring. He looks like a great young hitter. He looks like the bat boy, but he swings the bat.
He doesn't swing it like the bat boy.
No, not at all.
No, he can hit. Matt Gamel's swinging it well down in Nashville. Understand he's playing a very good first base.
Diaz is rung up. Narveson strikes him out. Diaz halfway down the first baseline before he realizes he's been called out on strikes.
Well, and you would figure Ed Hickox is saying, how do you know if it was a ball or a strike? You're running to first base. Check it out. Boy, how do you take that pitch? I mean, that wasn't obvious. He's trying to sell it to Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire. A good pitch on the inside corner.
Shock and awe.
That's what happens when you're looking away, looking for that off-speed pitch. That fastball anywhere near the inside part of the plate. Looks like it's way in off the corner.
It'd have been funny if he'd have just gone to first and said, no, I'm not. That's not a strike. I'm standing here. I'm not going anywhere. 2 outs for Narveson, and it's Overbay who rips one, and Counsell cannot make the catch. Actually jumped when he didn't need to, and Overbay will reach. Boy, they had it positioned perfectly. Counsell thought he had to go in the air. He did not, and it handcuffs him. We'll see how they score that.
It looked like he had some sink on it, or was knuckling out to shortstop because Craig actually jumped a little bit too high, hit the heel of the glove. And that'll be a base hit.
Overbay had a similar line drive last night towards Ricky Weeks when Ricky actually dove past the line drive. And the ball actually ended up between Ricky's glove and his face. Ended up in right center for a base hit. Well, it's a base runner for Pittsburgh. And Pedro Alvarez batting with 2 away. Alvarez struck out with a runner on in the second. Narveson got him on a sweeping curveball. Well, if you're Alvarez, how often are you going to get a pitch like that to handle?
Yeah. Well, they're going to give Craig Counsell an error, huh?
Just announced E6 on Craig Counsell. Cue shot. McGee is over there. He's got some time. And the inning is over, so no damage done. Prince Fielder will lead off when we come back. Scoreless game at Miller Park, the Brewers and the Pirates. And Prince Fielder ready to lead off. Fielder sitting on 200 career home runs, has 8 on the season. Set that milestone on Wednesday, or crossed that milestone, I guess you could say. It's impressive, as Fielder started playing every day during the 06 season, up in the big leagues in 05. In the final year of his contract with Milwaukee. It's interesting that Prince Fielder and his father, Cecil, just the 4th father and son tandem in Major League history to each hit at least 200 career home runs. It's courtesy of our friends at Elias.
I know Cecil. I played against Cecil. He can hit some monster home runs, but
like that one, Fielder sends one way out of here, right on cue. Prince Fielder with number 9. 1-0 Brewers.
As I was saying, but Dad, not to be outdone by son, a curveball that stayed up in the zone, and Prince Fielder had to provide all of the power on this one. That was a home run in the low 70s. That pitch coming in the low 70s, and he banged it on out of here in the second deck out there in right. Strong man, Prince Fielder.
Prince Fielder safe at home on the home run, safe and secure in New York life. Prince with his 9th homer, his 30th run batted in. And now McGee. It's quickly 0-2 on McGee. Well, Fielder with that home run joins Cecil Cooper, tied for 4th on the all-time franchise home run list. And the big question is, will Fielder remain a Brewer long enough to catch Robin Yount? Most certainly will end up at second as McGee fouls this one away, hits it far but pulls it foul. Unless Fielder has a 59 home run season in him, he could catch Robin Yount this year. It's possible.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't put it past him.
Off to his best start as far as home runs early in the year as Prince Fielder.
Saw Robin at the ballpark today. He was just in briefly. Saw him in the clubhouse. And always great to see the kid, Robin Yount. Sure, he had some business arrangements here that he was involved in, but he always comes by the ballpark.
Maybe a Robinade meeting, perhaps. Robin's got his foot in a lot of things here in Milwaukee. He still has close ties to the Brewers in Milwaukee, of course. Always likes coming here.
We saw a lot of Robin this spring. He was in uniform pretty much every day with the Brewers at the request of Ron Renneke. Renneke kind of scouring his needs, and they were a little light on the infield side. Garth Orge is the infield instructor, but it was his first year in the big leagues, and Ron Renneke going to Doug Melvin and requesting that Robin Yount be a part of the coaching staff this spring, and he was happy to get that call. As McGee grounds out, one away in the fourth, and we check in with Telly Hughes.
Well, BA, it's time to check in with the crew in the community. Prince just hit his 9th home run of the season, and you can join him as he hosts a bowl-a-thon on Wednesday, June 22nd at Pinstripes Bowling, located at iPick Entertainment at Bayshore Town Center in support of the YMCA. Proceeds raised will build a centralized school library for Youth Leaders Academy located at the Northside YMCA. The library will be established as the Brewers dugout for children grades K4 through 3rd.
Telly will be at that bowl-a-thon. He's an outstanding bowler. Sneaky bowler, Telly Hughes.
Yeah, we saw him in Cincinnati, didn't we?
Yeah, he's got a big fastball with that bowling ball. I'd like to go from bowling to golf for our off days at this point. We need to get some better weather so we can start with the outdoor activities.
Right, yeah, it's been a long time coming.
So we like to spend a lot of time together at our television crew. Even on off days, right?
Right, yeah, can't get enough of each other.
The 0-2, Katse pulls one over to Overbay. And 2 gone in the inning. That leads us to our AT&T trivia today. Who leads the major leagues in home runs since 07? Prince Fielder or Ryan Howard? A multiple choice trivia question today.
Yep, 50-50, right?
They should have thrown in a none of the above. That would have mixed it up a little bit. Brandon Boggs, deep right center field. This one's got some legs on it, and it's gone. Brandon Boggs with a home run. His second as a Brewer. 2-0 Milwaukee.
Well, there you go. He's got 3 hits this year and 2 of them home runs. Yep, a changeup, and Boggs able to wait back long enough. Able to hook it on out of here. And the Brewers with a couple of solo shots give themselves a 2-0 lead.
Well, the bench players rewarding Ron Renneke so far today. Katse with a hit. Brandon Boggs with a home run. Boggs has now homered from each side of the plate this season. His first homer was pulled into right center, and Boggs says his power side is his right side. That was a pretty smooth looking stroke right there from the left side.
Yeah, that was a changeup. I mean, Prince Fielder hit a slow curveball. Boggs hits a changeup, outer half.
Karsten strikes out Lucroy to end the inning, but the Brewers strike twice. Fielder and Boggs, 2-0 Milwaukee.
A couple of solo shots gives the Brewers a 2-0 lead. And today's time of the game winner is Nino's in St. Francis. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Chris Narveson back to work. 5th inning. Narveson pitching well. He's surrendered just 2 hits. Both of them singles. Narveson with 1 walk, and he has 3 strikeouts, making 4 strikeouts now. Narveson's last start came against the best hitting team in the National League, the Cardinals. Took a loss in that game, but Narveson pitched well, had 4 scoreless innings before the Cardinals finally got to him with a couple of runs. And when it was all said and done, Narveson went 6. 3 runs, 2 were earned. But he suffered the loss on a day when the Brewers' bats were again dormant. And Narveson starts this day with a 1-3 record.
And Narveson really only had 1 bad outing. That came against Cincinnati here at Miller Park. 2 1/3, give up 7 earnings. Other than that, he's been pretty good. He's kept the Brewers in games. And as you mentioned, though, the Brewers' offense really hasn't supported Narveson too much. Last 2 starts for Chris, the Brewers have only scored 1 run.
Narveson's lone win came against the Cubs. That was on the 9th of April. And Cedeno walks. Second walk issued by Narveson, a leadoff walk in the 5th. Fans, a reminder, you can vote for your favorite Brewers for the 2011 All-Star team, and you'll be eligible to win great prizes, including a night in Ryan Braun's suite with a visit from Ryan himself. For details, visit brewers.com/all-star. Vote early, vote often. Most importantly, vote Brewers. How about the Bill Schroeder suite? How's that coming along?
I don't have one.
Not remodeling up there anytime soon?
No. This is the only suite I have, right next to you.
That's a sweet seat.
It is.
That's sweet.
A lot of people wish they could sit where I'm sitting just because you're up here.
Best seat in the house right here.
It is.
Minus all the electronics and the fire hazards. There's a bunt, a good one from Karstens. The fielder takes the only out available. Sacrifice bunt for the Pirate pitcher. 2 levels of suites at Miller Park, and they are beautiful. We don't get a chance to really go up there much, but we hear great stories.
Remodeled a couple of years ago. Hardwood floors in there, really top-notch food, which is the most important part of suite life. The chow.
See, you're acting as if you know a little bit more about the suites than you're letting on.
I have been in the Fox Sports Wisconsin suite from time to time.
Oh, have you now?
On an off day. Come on out here, get lunch. Instead of going out and buying lunch, come here to the ballpark.
Very interesting.
Taking the game, saying hello to some sponsors. You have to do those things once in a while.
Shaking hands, kissing babies.
Yeah. Playing the game.
Man of the people.
Big night out tonight with my Miller Lite folks out in Cedarburg tonight. Talking about shaking hands and kissing babies.
Please tell me no babies will be where you're going tonight.
No. Nice little corner establishment called Weisler's tonight.
All right.
Out in Cedarburg.
You need to get on Twitter, Rock. You can, like Justin Bieber, you can tweet where you'll be, and you'll be amazed at the crowd that shows up.
I'd rather most times people not know where I'm going to be. Until tonight.
When you're making announcements on television. Anything else you'd like to
where would we be without our folks from Miller? Honestly.
There's a bouncing ball. It's going to sneak through. And Cedeno on his way to third base. That time the shift hurts the Brewers. And McCutchen, the benefactor, right off the end of the bat.
Yep. And a little cue shot, able to hit it hard enough into center field. Best scoring opportunity for Pittsburgh tonight. That cut fastball that McCutchen able to hit into center field. To see the English on that baseball. Watch it hit the second time and scoot right. A cue shot.
So it's first and third. The Pirates threatening with one out. And the good part of their order coming up. Jose Tabata 0 for 1 with a walk here today. In the air to right. Drifting back is Kotze on the track. He's got it for the out. And Cedeno will score. Kotze's throw into second base. But the Pirates are on the board. 2-1 Brewers.
It seems like the ball's carrying pretty well tonight. Or I should say this afternoon. That ball didn't sound like it was hit all that well by Tabata, but it took Kotze all the way back to the warning track. Now the Pirates on the board. That ball, he just kept going back further and further. Finally on the warning track, holds it in. Look at a routine pop to right when it was off the bat.
Kotze made the right throw, keeping McCutchen at first base. McCutchen was tagging on the play. He was ready to run if Kotze's throw had come all the way in or it had been off the mark. So 2 outs, a run is in. 2-1 Brewers, and it's Neil Walker. Narveson trying to make sure McCutchen stays close at first. McCutchen has 5 steals this year, but he's been caught 4 times.
Yeah, the Pirates with 26 stolen bases, but they've been caught 12 times. That's not a very good ratio.
Hurdle wants to open it up a little bit. Wants the Pirates to run a little more. That one's in the dirt. Skips away from Lucroy. McCutchen will end up at second. On a wild pitch. As soon as it hit the dirt, McCutchen took off.
Yep, we're going to change up down in the dirt in front of home plate. Yeah, good technique by Lucroy, but not able to keep it close.
That is at the heart of aggressive base running. And Ron Renicky preaches the same for his base runners when they see the pitch in the dirt. The second it hits the dirt, they're instructed to take off. Puts a lot of pressure on a catcher trying to find a baseball in front of him. Very rarely, only the best catchers, the ones who pick the ball clean, are able to make that play.
You know, the ones that have that soft chest. I mean, it's a special talent that certain catchers have. Molina has it. Just soften that chest, the ball hits you there, and it just drops right in front of you. And sometimes a catcher will get down properly, but he'll blow the chest out a little bit, and it'll be a little bit firmer, and the ball scoots away just far enough to allow that base runner to advance.
Sounds like an instructional there. You gonna put the gear on for us?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, that's not happening. I've got my good pants on. Unless Davey wants to do it.
Show off his soft chest.
I didn't say that, Davey. That was Brian.
Now, when you played, were you considered a soft-chested catcher?
Never.
You blocked the ball well. I know what you mean.
We didn't put it that way, though.
You only put it that way as an analyst.
They're called good blockers.
You've just peeled one more layer off it, though. 3-2 pitch. Walker takes ball 4. And Narveson scuffling here in the 5th.
And very glad that we're moving on here with Spring Madness, and it's hitting the Milwaukee Brewers on May 27th through the 29th. All tickets $30 and less or half price, plus small Pepsi products and Clements hot dogs are just $1. The seats include Loge outfield, terrace box, terrace reserved, field bleachers, Loge bleachers, and Bernie's terrace.
Narveson in danger here. 2 on, a run is in. Brewers lead 2-1. And it's Ryan Doman. Bouncing ball. Counsell goes the easy way, and Narveson is out of it. That's a big out right there. 2-1, the Brewers lead. We head to the home 5th. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. A sellout crowd on a Saturday afternoon. Great to have you with us today on Fox Sports Wisconsin. With producer Chris Withers, director Michael Odino, Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes with you. 2-1 our score. The Brewers have a couple of runs on solo home runs. Prince Fielder and Brandon Boggs. Chris Narveson will lead off against Karstens. Karstens has 4 strikeouts. The Brewers finally getting to him last inning. Narveson grounded out his last time up. Brewers had a chance in the second with a runner at third and 1 out. Could not deliver the run.
Carson's doing a nice job mixing it up, moving it in and out. He's throwing inside a little bit more than we remember him doing in the past. Got a good changeup. His curveball's been for strikes. He's had a good outing so far.
Karstens filling in for the injured Ross Ohlendorf. And he might have pitched his way into a rotation spot for the year. Very efficient third inning. That was his best inning, a 3-up, 3-down frame.
He's thrown 58 pitches, only 14 balls. He just pounded in the strike zone.
And Narveson chases one there for strikeout number 5.
On Sunday, May 22nd against the Rockies, all fans in attendance will get a Casey McGee bobblehead courtesy of the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com for tickets.
That'll be on the next homestand. Colorado comes to town.
Yeah, quick 4-gamer to the West Coast. That'll be a tester.
2 in Los Angeles, 2 in San Diego, all 4 night games. And the Brewers are right back here Friday night. Bouncing ball to Overbay. Karstens covers in time for the out. Weeks is retired. 2 outs. That road trip and the nature of the road trip has actually had an impact on the roster right now. Zach Braddock is eligible to come off Monday. Braddock, Brewers left-handed reliever, has been on the disabled list with a sleep disorder. He pitched the other day in Appleton, and he faced 5 batters. He struck them all out. 5 batters faced, 5 strikeouts. But the fact that the Brewers go to Los Angeles tomorrow after the game, they play 2 in LA, bus to San Diego. That's going to be a late night. 2 in San Diego, and then the Brewers won't arrive until Friday morning, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and then play later that night. It's actually led Ron Renicky and the rest of the Brewers front office to decide to leave Braddock back and probably activate him when they return. Counsell down the right field line. That's hit well. It'll bounce off the base of the wall. And Counsell into second base with a double. So the 3 bench players that were placed into the starting lineup today for Ron Renicky have delivered. All of them have hits.
Yep, 2-out double, and that allows Ryan Braun to get an at-bat. Anytime you can extend an inning, put men on base for 3 and 4 coming up from Milwaukee, that's always a good thing. Not too many guys can pull a fastball better than Craig Counsell. Not a big guy, but he gets the head out on a fastball in. Able to rip it off that right field fence. Keeps the inning alive.
First extra base hit of the year for Counsell. And it's a double with 2 outs in the 5th. And now Braun a chance to add to the lead. Braun is 0 for 2. He hit a line drive out to the second baseman in the first. He grounded out, broke his bat in the 3rd inning. Back inside. Braun certainly enjoys the Pirates. A .409 batting average against Pittsburgh over his last 10 games. That is in games at Miller Park. Look at the production. Yeah. 10 games, 10 RBIs. Scored 15 runs. The Brewers overall as a team this year hitting over 300 at Miller Park. So this has been a great place for Milwaukee to swing the bats.
A very good offensive ballpark. You got the big batter's eye. The ball travels very well, and Brewers have always done well here at home.
So far this year, Milwaukee with a record of 11-6 at Miller Park. $6-15 on the road this year for the Crew.
Now we talk about the batter's eye. It's right below the scoreboard, that black area that when the ball is coming out of the pitcher's hand is coming out right out of that area, and that's a very good background with which to hit.
Used to have ivy growing on that wall. Cut that down, and now it's just a matted black finish. Normally it's tough to hit during the daytime at Miller Park because of the long shadows here, but the sun is very far away at this point.
Players love it when it rains for day games.
That's right. It feels like a night game in here. Right. The lights are up and no shadows at all.
Especially 3 o'clock starts in the middle of summer.
Braun had a big cut. Karstens threw him an off-speed pitch in a 3-1 count.
And he threw him a changeup on 3-0. Being very careful with Ryan Braun with Prince Fielder on deck.
Karstens, when he has been in this spot today with the big hitters, has dropped down to a 3/4 delivery. done it on a few occasions. He struck out Casey McGee looking on that pitch in the first. See what he does here. 3-2. Counsell at second. And Braun rolls one over to Alvarez. Inning over. So Karstens pitches out of it. And the Brewers strand a base runner at second.
If you want a free terrace level game ticket, then complete a BP Come On Back card by making 7 purchases of 8 or more gallons of gas at participating BP gas stations. Call 414-902-4000 to go to Brewers.com for details.
2-1 Milwaukee on a pair of solo home runs. Prince Fielder and Brandon Boggs, both coming in the 4th inning. Diaz right off the end of the bat. And a shovel over to first. Narveson made that one a little closer than it needed to be.
Made him run all the way down the bag.
Diaz is retired. You could almost see Prince Fielder saying, all right, let's go. Get it over here. But 1 pitch and 1 out for Narveson. Lyle Overbay with 1 away. Taking his time to dig in. It's one of those unwritten rules, protocol for a player. If the batter in front of him is retired quickly, like Diaz was, the next batter will meander his way to the plate, trying to give his pitcher a little extra time to rest. Doesn't want to have a fast inning. And you see Narveson is trying to counteract that.
Get it and go, right?
Slow curveball from Narveson, a good one. Overbay reached on an error in the 4th inning. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd. Didn't bite this time. As fast as 92 with a fastball and as slow as 70 miles an hour with a changeup. I guess that's his changeup. Could be his curveball, the slow curveball.
And that big curveball is usually the slowest of the pitches that are registered. It'll go fastball, fastball, then slider or cutter, changeup, and then curveball is usually the slowest pitch that a pitcher will throw. And a good block again by Lucroy.
Broken bat. Casey McGee is there. Overbay retired. 2 gone in the 6th. Well, the more and more I see that slow curveball, the more and more you like it. Especially the curveball that is a change in pace, like the Randy Wolf curveball. And I've noticed Narveson over the last couple of years, and I'm not sure if Wolf has had an influence on that, but his curveball has really dropped down in velocity a great deal.
Right.
He has that slow curveball. I haven't seen him drop it into the 60s yet, but it used to be in the mid-70s, and now it's in the low 70s.
No, it's a good pitch if you keep it down in the strike zone. It was that slow curveball that got him in trouble against the Astros. He threw one to Carlos Lee that hung up around the belt, and Lee hit a 3-run home run. That's a good pitch, though. One of those get me over first pitch curveballs. Something other than a fastball.
That one is ripped to the wall down the right field line. Alvarez on his way to second as Katse hustles it back in. That's a 2-out double for Pedro Alvarez. And that was a hanger.
Yep, 80 miles an hour that time, a cutter. And it was supposed to be on the outer part of the plate, ended up right down the middle, and Alvarez able to rip it down the line to keep the inning alive. Ronnie Cedeno in the batter's box. You wonder if Ron Renick is just going to put him on and go after Karsten as the pitcher.
Or at least force Clint Hurdle's hand here. And Renick will intentionally walk Cedeno, which puts a decision in the other dugout with Clint Hurdle, who most certainly will pinch hit for Karstens, despite Karstens pitching very well.
You never know. It was a short start yesterday for the Pirates. McDonald only won 4 innings. They're talking about it right now. The bullpen's pretty good over there for the Pirates. There is activity down there. We'll see what Clint Hurdle likes to do. It's a tough call here in the 5th inning. Or I should say 6th.
That's a call only a National League manager has to make. It's the biggest difference. And you see Hurdle calls back Karstens, and he is going to take a shot at it right here.
And we'll see how this ends up. But Ron Renick did one thing. He got a pretty good pitcher out of the ball game. Karstens was throwing the ball well.
That's the beauty of the National League game. So a quick trip to the mound from Lucroy. A discussion on the pinch hitter, Steve Pearce. And another big spot for Chris Narveson. He has not had a clean inning all day with the exception of the first. Pirates have had base runners on in every inning since the first. And again with 2 on and 2 out. In a 2-1 Brewers lead. Here is Steve Pearce pinch hitting for the Pirates. Pearce now 3 for 11 as a pinch hitter. And he opens him up with a changeup strike.
Got to be careful inside with Steve Pearce. He's got some power. You make a mistake with him. Changeup should be a good pitch to this guy.
Close pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first for the Pirates. A double and an intentional walk. Nice block by Lucroy. It's 2-1. This will probably be Narveson's last hitter.
Hits count at 107.
Hawkins is ready in the bullpen. Top of the order coming up next. Narveson would like to make it a clean 6. 2-2. Karstens exits 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Right now on the hook for the loss. Although Pearce could put him in line for a win. Another one in the dirt. Another good block by Lucroy. And it's 3-2.
Yeah, Jonathan doing a nice job keeping that glove down on the ground to protect that 5-hole. Keep the glove down on the ground and block it with the chest.
Well, got to make a pitch here. 3-2. Could be his last one. The runners will start with the pitch. There they go. The 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Narveson strikes him out. Pulled the string on him. And Pierce is gone. The Pirates strand a pair, and Narveson exits with the lead. Is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Airtran, go, there's nothing stopping you. And by the Miller Lite Vortex bottle, taste greatness.
Good job of pitching by Chris Narveson to get himself out of a very tough top of the 6th inning. Let's take it pitch by pitch. Good cut fastball, backdooring. It seemed as though Narveson had a tough time putting the changeup on the pinch hitter, Steve Pierce, but after he got to the 3-2 count, pulls a string this time, took a little bit off the cut fastball, had Pierce way out in front. Good pitch.
Big out for Chris Narveson, and he goes 6 here today. You figure that's his last hitter. We'll see. Pitch count near 110 at this point. Narveson with 5 strikeouts. And only 1 run allowed on only 4 hits. Daniel McCutchen is the new Pirate hurler, taking over for Jeff Karstens.
You can see he's off to a pretty good start. Has not been charged with an earned run in his first 12 appearances. That spans 15 innings so far. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and the opponent batting average very good. He's been tough against right-handers, holding them to a 138 batting average.
Fielder leads off. Prince homered his last time up, put the Brewers on the board in the 4th inning. His 9th homer of the year, and a home run that tied him for 4th all time in Brewers franchise history with Cecil Cooper. And the Pirate defensive shift is on for Fielder. Daniel McCutchen. Fielder right into that shift. And it's Walker who makes a play for the out. 1 gone in the inning. Back to our AT&T trivia. Who leads Major League Baseball in home runs since '07? Fielder or Howard? Ryan Howard with 180. But Prince Fielder is close at 171. Remember, it was 2 years ago Fielder and Howard tied for the major league lead in RBIs. 141. 2 big sluggers, and Fielder is looking for a payday similar to Ryan Howard. There's a base hit. Casey McGee singles to left. That's what he needed. And McGee is aboard with 1 away. Our Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text question today comes from Pewaukee. It's Chris. He wants to know, is it easier to play a day game or a mid-afternoon game after a night game, Rock?
I think the more time you have between games, the better off you are. But as we talked about with the glass panels here at Miller Park, it makes it difficult sometimes when there's 3 o'clock starts, particularly in the midsummer, when you have to deal with the shadows throughout most of the game, particularly when you hit that 5:30, 6 o'clock area. It can be tough. But on a day like today, it's overcast, raining. I think the players would prefer to have a 3 o'clock start. Personal preference, I guess.
And it's usually a day when managers will give some of their bench players opportunities to play day games after night games. Renicky has done that today with Kotsay, Council, and Boggs, and they have all contributed today. Council has a double. He's 1 for 3. Kotsay hitting 6th in the lineup is 1 for 2 with a stolen base. And Brandon Boggs homered in the 4th to give the Brewers at the time a 2-0 lead. And that's the run that still has him in the lead at this point. Quick move to first by McCutchen. Kotsay still looking for his first home run as a Brewer. He had 8 last year as a member of the White Sox. Mostly used as the designated hitter in Chicago a season ago. Just got out ahead of it.
Yeah, for a guy that didn't play much defensively last year, he certainly played a pretty good outfield so far for the Brewers. He made some nice catches out in right field. You remember that one he made in that game in St. Louis to save a couple of runs for Gallardo.
Yeah, and preserved the no-hitter at the time. Kotsay's been playing so well in the outfield, and his back is healthy. That's really the key for Kotsay. He's dealt with back injuries throughout his career. Well, he felt good enough to actually get a start in center field on Wednesday. Kotsay rips one. Center field. McCutchen is over. Oh, it's over his head. And Casey McGee racing around third. He will stop there. A terrible route by Andrew McCutchen. And Kotsay with an extra base hit.
Yeah, completely misjudged that one. Yeah, we've been talking about how well the ball has been carrying here today. Everything closed up. Kotsay hit that one right on the screws and right over the head of McCutchen, who misplayed it. Right there, he went across. He should have gone back, and that is a misplay in center field. It'll go down as a double. And now second and third for the Brewers with 1 out. You don't see McCutchen make a mistake like that very often.
That is the sprint of shame for an outfielder when one goes over your head like that and you've got to track it down.
And the thing about McCutchen, he plays so deep in the outfield. He really does. I mean, as deep in center field as you'll see. All he had to do was back on an angle. He went straight across and then realized it was over his head. He couldn't do anything about it.
Now Casey McGee was caught in no man's land a bit. He had to freeze and make sure that the play wasn't made.
And check out how deep McCutchen is out there in center field. I mean, that's pretty deep. Now Casey McGee has to go about 3/4 of the way. Now he puts the afterburners on. Now Casey doesn't run all that well to start with. And because he thought the ball was going to be caught, he has to stay at third base.
Completely misjudged, and now the Pirates will intentionally walk Brandon Boggs to face Jonathan Lucroy. So they're going to take a shot to get out of this inning with one swing of the bat with a ground ball, and what a difference a day makes. Lucroy, the hottest hitter in the lineup over the last few days, had a home run yesterday, scored twice, but he has struck out twice today, and Hurdle is going to take a chance to get out of this inning with no runs.
Well, it's Jeff Karstens that was giving him problems. He's no longer pitching. So you got a new guy out there in the mound, and Lucroy looking to give the Brewers some insurance here.
don't often see a team intentionally walk a batter to face that particular lineup's leading hitter in batting average statistically, but that is what has happened here. So the bases are loaded, and Jonathan Lucroy with a golden opportunity to extend this lead. Lucroy hitting .316. On the ground, Walker to Cedeno, and the move pays off. The Pirates get out of it. 4-6-3 double play. And Clint Hurdle works his magic here in the 6th.
Summary. In the bottom of the 4th, Prince Fielder will break up a scoreless game with his 9th home run of the season, putting the Crew on the board first. Then is Brandon Boggs. 3 hits on the season. 2 of them have been home runs, and it's a 2-0 Crew lead. But in the top of the 5th, Jose Tabata's RBI sacrifice fly to right, make it a 2-1 game. And Chris Narveson, 6 innings of work, 4 hits, 1 run, and his 5th and final strikeout came with 2 runners on base, and Lucroy Hawkins is now in to work the top of the 7th inning. Brian?
All right, Telly, thank you. Game 2 of this 3-game series. The Brewers can secure a series win with a victory today, put themselves in a position for a sweep. As you see the numbers on Hawkins, he's been very good. He is not pitching like we saw Hawkins as an Astro with the big velocity, but he's been able to get outs, and he's been able to use his breaking stuff effectively since coming back.
Yeah, he allowed a run in his first outing of the season, and the last 7 have been scoreless. That covers 6 2/3 innings. Came off the disabled list on April 21st, recovering from right shoulder surgery. So it'll be Hawkins in the 7th. You hope it's going to be Lowe in the 8th, and John Axford for the save.
Chris Narveson leaves with an opportunity to win. 6 innings today for Narveson. Gave up just 1 earned run. Had 4 walks today. 1 of those was intentional, and 5 strikeouts for Narveson. So the bullpen will try to take it the rest of the way. Top of the order coming up, Andrew McCutchen. And that misplay by McCutchen does not hurt the Pirates, as Daniel McCutchen induces the double play from Lucroy to get out of a mess. Well, when Hawkins had his big fastball, when it was 95 plus, he used the fastball and the curveball together very well. Here recently, since coming back, it's been a fastball in the low 90s combined with a slider.
Man, he's been able to locate the fastball pretty well. He threw that one right in on the hands of McCutchen that time. I guess it's which would you rather have, the big velocity, not being able to locate it like you would like, but or would you throw 92, 93 and put it on the corners? As you get older, those are the type of adjustments that you have to make.
The 1-2 and a breaking ball in the dirt. McCutchen doesn't chase.
It's that curveball you were talking about. Well, he'll still flip it up there from time to time, as long as he keeps it down.
Now, every pitch has a yin and a yang. You know, the high fastball, the curveball, you try to build your repertoire. And Hawkins admitted without his great velocity, he's had to go to a few pitches that he hasn't used much in his career. So far, it's worked well. That one is ripped left field, way back, and Drew McCutchen off the top of the wall. That stays in the ballpark as McCutchen doubles to start the 7th inning. Almost a home run.
Yeah, fastball right down the middle on a 2-2 count, and he got the head out on it. Yeah, last 2 at bats for McCutchen have been base hits. Starting to swing the bat a little bit better. That one cut home play right in half at about 92 miles an hour. McCutchen, I think, thought that was out of the ballpark, but after being benched earlier in the week for not running, he was running all the way out of the box, not taking anything for granted. That ball was smoked.
Tying run at second base right away here in the 7th, and now it's Tabata who bunts and bunts it foul.
Clint Hurdle, I guess, playing for 1 run here. Interesting, but the top of his order up. Either that or Tabata did it on his own.
Tabata drove in the only Pirate run, had a sac fly in the 5th inning. 7 RBIs for the year. He's got some power. Pirates don't show the power numbers. They play in a pitcher friendly ballpark at PNC in Pittsburgh. Tabata's hit 3 this year.
Got to be careful. McCutchen will steal third base. Got to keep an eye on him.
And it's 2 balls and a strike. Narveson exits with a 2-1 lead. Narveson wiggled off a number of hooks throughout this game. Had just 1 clean inning today. The first. Every other inning, the Pirates had men on base. Two and 2. Takashi Saito still on the comeback trail, an oblique injury which followed a hamstring injury. That's a key loss in the Brewers bullpen.
Yes, it is.
He was slated to be the 8th inning man for the Brewers, with Hawkins working the 7th. Ron Renicky has yet to have all those pieces in place. The count is full on Tabata. He has not bet on the Hawkins breaking ball. Hawkins was told to be patient with his recovery. At 37 years of age, post shoulder surgery. Took him a little longer, about 6 weeks longer in his comeback than what it typically takes with a shoulder injury, which is why he missed the first couple of weeks of the schedule. 3-2 pitch, and he lost him. 2 on to start the 7th. Tabata walks for the 2nd time today, and trouble brewing for the Brew Crew here in the 7th.
Yeah, Lucroy just having a tough time throwing that breaking pitch, whether it be the slider or the curveball for strikes. He tried to throw that slider on a 3-2 count and missed badly with it. And as you mentioned, unlike when he was young, he just can't get away with pumping fastballs.
Rick Kranitz on the phone to the bullpen.
Hey, Casey McGee talking to LaTroy Hawkins about a bunt possibility. I doubt that's going to happen. Very rarely do you see your number 3 hitter drop down a bunt. But you never know.
Switch hitter Neil Walker. He has been at the plate with a ton of runners in scoring position here today. And he has another chance. 2 on, nobody out. The Brewers are fortunate that they still have a lead. McCutchen almost hit one out of here. Missed it by a couple of feet. He's still at second. Walker had a big cut. Now the key hitter in the inning right here for Hawkins. The complexion of the inning changes so much depending on what Walker does. Hawkins retires him.
Try and get your ground ball, turnover, double play. But you have to be able to throw that slider for strikes, and LaTroy hasn't been able to do it yet in this inning.
A curveball that is fouled away. A good one there. His best so far, and it's 1-2 on Neil Walker.
That fastball for a strike threw by him, and then he went with a curveball and kept it down in the strike zone.
And this is a spot in the past where Hawkins could use that riding fastball. See what he does. Ball and 2 strikes, 2 men on. Another curveball, a bouncer. Weeks ranging over, flips to Counsell to throw to first in time for a double play.
Wow.
Close play at first. The Brewers turn to a beautiful double play. Weeks to Counsell, the fielder.
Yep, flipped it out of his glove, and Counsell able to get it over to first base just in time. And once again, Clint Hurdle on his way out to have an argument with one of the umpires.
That is Chris Conroy, the umpire who was in the crosshairs last night with the Brewers, and Clint Hurdle might be on his way to an ejection. There he goes. Hurdle has been tossed.
Well, when you first saw it, it looked like Walker beat it at first base. But look at this from Ricky. Flips it out of the glove over to Counsell. And let's check it out. Bang, bang. Could have gone either way. Benefit of the doubt this time to Milwaukee. But it all started with a good curveball from LaTroy Hawkins. Very, very close at first base. Could have gone either way. And a big double play turned by Milwaukee.
Wow, that's as close as it gets.
Yeah, you can't really argue either way. Of course, it's easy for us to say the double play was called, but you can see why Clint Hurdle went out there upset.
Hurdle ejected. 2 outs, runner at third, and Hawkins away out of this mess. Here's Ryan Doumit now. Turns around, hits left-handed. Boy, how close was this? Walker's foot makes impact right there. Wow. I mean, look. How many times have we looked at it?
Yeah. and the umpire only sees it once.
It goes the way of the Brewers. Pivotal play in this game. Hawkins with One more piece to get out of this mess in the 7th. Domet, the switch hitter, much better hitter from the right side this year, hitting at just .225 as a left-handed batter this season. Three balls, no strikes on Domet. There are his splits. .255 average. Much fewer at bats against right-handed pitchers this year. Three and one. Domet has the kind of power, though, you have to respect. You have to be very careful. He had a couple of home runs late in games a season ago against Milwaukee, both against Trevor Hoffman.
And particularly careful in counts like this, 3-1.
Inside, almost hit him, and a walk. Well, that double play is looming large now. So Hawkins issuing his second walk, and it's going to be Matt Diaz, a notorious first ball hacker.
He's done pretty well against right-handed pitching this year at a .316 clip. He has been better against right-handers this year than he has against left-handed pitching.
And it's interesting that Diaz normally plays in a platoon with Garrett Jones, a left-right platoon. He swings away the first pitch, fouls it off. Two to one Brewers. A pair of solo home runs in the 4th inning. At this point, standing up for Milwaukee, Fielder and Boggs. Ron Renicky trying to sneak his way through this 7th inning. Bouncing ball. McGee, a long throw. And Fielder digs it out. The Brewers are out of a mess in the 7th. And it all started with a great double play. Weeks to Counsell to Fielder, and a close play at first. The call goes the Brewers' way, and Milwaukee still in the lead.
Go to the bottom of the 7th. Davey and Craig back on board, getting you set for Brewers Live postgame. And how about the bench contributing as starters today? Counsell, Kotze, and Boggs, all with big hits so far.
Well, you know, Craig, one of the things that Ron Renicky trying to do,
find that playing time. That's the most difficult thing to do, is to find the playing time for your extra guys, and he's done a nice job in getting those guys, because you're going to need them down the line, because most of the regulars get all the playing time.
Well, Box with the big home run, his second. Speaking of the regulars, Corey Hart going to lead off this inning off the bench, guys.
All right, Craig, Davey, thank you. Looking forward to Brewers Live following the game. A tight one here at Miller Park in front of a sellout crowd. And Hart pinch hitting for Hawkins. Hawkins is probably wondering how he got out of that mess in the 7th. 2 on to start the inning. A great double play turn. Another walk and a ground out. So 2 walks and a double, and Hawkins exits with a scoreless 7th inning. Could be a big turn. Remember, the Brewers had the bases loaded and 1 out in the 6th and could not score. So each club will have the option after this game, whoever ends up on the wrong side, to say we had our chances.
Yeah, Brewers have left 6 stranded, and the Pirates, check this out, 10 left on base.
Oh, man.
So both teams with a number of chances. Doesn't seem like this should be a 2-1 game.
The 1-2 to Hart. And a bouncer over to third. That is a foul ball called by Marquez. That was close. Alfonso Marquez, the third base umpire, was right on it and called it foul. That was close.
Yes, it was. I mean, that bounced before third base in fair territory. And it looked like it got the line beyond the bag. Check it out. Let's see how close this is. Bingo. Yeah, it looked like a pretty good call. He's right on it. How can you argue with him? If it goes over the bag right there in fair territory, it's a fair ball. That is close.
Wow.
That might have been a fair ball, but it's hard to argue, I guess.
Yeah, that angle is slightly off the line. It's a little deceptive, but I guess it all goes back to, the angle of the baseball from the first bounce to the second bounce. But he was right on it.
Been a lot of close calls today.
I'll tell you what, umpires are in the crosshairs in this one, right?
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Bob Davidson call last year in Miami.
Right.
With the Marlins and the Phillies. This one goes against the Brewers. Would have been an infield hit for Hart. 3-2 pitch, and Hart rips one deep left center field. McCutchen is over carefully, bangs it off the wall, and Corey Hart into second with a double. He's starting to heat up.
Yeah, you get the sense that he's starting to dial in on the off-speed pitches. He really never had a problem with the fastball, but pitching as much time as he did, the breaking pitches are going to be the problems, and McCutchen forced to throw one down the middle on a 3-2 pitch. You can see Corey able to get the sweet spot on it and drive it into the gap. So a leadoff double for the Brewers. Got to get a run in.
Hart doubled and scored last night, and is starting to string together some good at-bats. And the second Corey Hart gets going and Casey McGee gets going, and McGee has a hit tonight, you could really see the Brewers doing some damage offensively. What a weapon to have, Hart coming off the bench. Yeah. So a leadoff double and some speed now at second base for Ricky Weeks.
And nothing but right-handed pinch hitters for Ron Renneke. All of his left-handers are in the starting lineup.
Bouncing ball, Hart on his way to third. Cedeno to third. He throws it away. They had him dead to rights. The Pirates, a costly error, and Hart safe at third, Weeks safe at first.
Well, to be a fielder's choice, I don't think it's going to be an error because runners did not advance. That was a good throw by Cedeno. It looked like Alvarez alligator armed it. He was a little bit worried about contact with Corey Hart.
That's a good call right there. That's no throwing error on Cedeno. Not even a bad throw from Cedeno. That was right there.
A little intimidated was Alvarez. That will be no error. Fielder's choice. Ricky gets the first on the fielder's choice, and no play apparently on Corey Hart. Oh, they're going to give an error. They just popped one up. Well, I hope it's not going to be on Ronnie Cedeno because that was a good throw.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve an error there.
Somebody gets one.
Now the bench coach is Jeff Bannister. Remember, Hurdle ejected, and it's Bannister who makes the pitching change. Bring it on the lefty. We'll take a break. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. A reminder to join Fox Sports Wisconsin and Milwaukee Bucks point guard Brandon Jennings for basketball instruction and fun at the 2011 Brandon Jennings basketball camp. That's August 11th and 12th at Homestead High School in Mequon. The camp is open to boys and girls ages 7 to 18. Visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the upcoming events tab. And let's take you back in what has been ruled an E5 on this throw from Cedeno that is right there, and Alvarez just woofs it. And Hart is safe. It's a terrible base running decision by Corey Hart. But the Brewers with runners at the corners, and the new pitcher is Joe Beimel.
Yeah, Beimel, one of two left-handers. We saw Moskos in yesterday's ball game, but Beimel's thrown the ball well. A 2.61 ERA in his 12th game this afternoon.
Craig Counsell will face Beimel, lefty on lefty, and Counsell trying to drag bunt. Bunts it foul. During the pitching change, while we were away in a break, we saw Yuniesky Betancourt with a helmet on, speculating whether he would hit for Counsell or not. Ron Renicky deciding to stick with Counsell in this spot.
No, with nobody out, you don't want to be emptying out your bench. If you got Braun and Fielder coming up, you feel pretty good about the inning. And maybe if there were two outs, you might see Betancourt with a bat.
Counsell squares again, and here comes Hart to the plate. The throw, and Hart is safe at home. Somehow got a foot in there.
Man, boy. I mean, Ryan Doman blocked off home plate beautifully, but apparently Corey Hart, with some very aggressive base running, not only getting to third base, but scoring on that bunt. Ryan Doman showing Ed Hickox that he got me right in the shoe. I blocked him off. He never touched home plate. Let's see it. And I have to, well, it looked like on that angle that he was right. This will give us a better view of it. A bit of a high tag. Check out Doman blocking home plate beautifully. And Corey never touched home plate. It looked like.
No, never touched it.
Very interesting call by Ed Hickox, because ordinarily you get a play like that, a catcher blocking off home plate, you're going to get the out call. Did not.
So the safety squeeze. And Hart scores a run, an adventure on the base paths for Corey Hart. But the Brewers lead 3-1 now, and a chance to bust it wide open. Still nobody out. 2 men are on now. It's a good bunt by Counsell. At the very least, it would have advanced Weeks to second with Braun and Fielder coming up.
I'm not even sure that was a safety squeeze. I think Corey just went and he saw where the bunt was going, and he took off on his own.
3-1 Milwaukee. Getting the benefit of some close calls here today.
But that is the very definition of a safety squeeze, though, right? Yeah, it's the runner's, instincts that allow him to score on a play like that where he sees the baseball. Boy, that's a good job by Doman to block off home plate, but does not get the call.
Ed Hickok's right there, right in on the play.
Well, if Clinton Hurley didn't get thrown out on the call at first, he certainly would have got thrown out on that call.
Yeah, he had plenty of opportunities.
So
he
was going to be gone either way.
A lot of close calls. The Brewers have been fortunate. That's the way it goes sometimes. The Brewers lost 7 in a row on the road, and it seemed like every close call went against them. Maybe a sign of good things to come for Milwaukee. 2 on, nobody out. LeBron lays off. 3-0 is the count with Fielder looming on deck. A double and 2 Fielder's choices in this inning. Still nobody out. See if Braun has the green light. 3-0. Takes it all the way. 3-1. Unlike Fielder, Braun typically doesn't like to swing 3-0. Hawkins worked a scoreless 7th. Ball 4. Bases are loaded. Nobody out. And the cleanup hitter coming up, Prince Fielder.
Crazy inning, isn't it? All the breaks going the way of the Brewers. Even that double play call in the top of the 7th. And now the big fella up with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Final falls behind. Let's take you back to the 4th in a scoreless game. Fielder led off with a home run, his 9th homer of the year, and a home run that tied him with Cecil Cooper for 4th on the all-time home run list in franchise history, number 201 in his career. Ooh, at a big cut. Fielder took a rip at it. Fielder with 30 RBIs. A run is in. And the 1-1 pitch. Down and out. 2 balls and a strike. A sellout crowd at Miller Park, ready to roar if Fielder can deliver. And Prince shoots one to right. Coming in is Diaz. It bounces in front of him. A throw to second. Braun is safe. The run scores. Weeks scores the run, and only the speed of Ryan Braun makes that a hit for Prince Fielder. An RBI single.
Yeah, good base running by Ryan. I mean, that was close. Diaz came in, he trapped it. And nobody really sure whether that ball was going to be caught or not. But, Bimal trying to feed Prince a steady diet of breaking pitches away. Prince had the one fastball to hit in that at bat right there. And you get the fastball again. Pitch was down, out over the plate, and check out Diaz. Comes close, able to trap it, and Ryan Braun able to sneak into second base. I'll tell you, that ball gets by Diaz. I think you're going to see an inside the Parker from Prince Fielder again. And doing a good job hanging right in there. A little bit down the end of the bat. And the inning continues with nobody out.
That's a big play, and Braun speed gets fielder a hit out of that. Could have just been a basic out, a force play. Run still would have scored. Another pitching change. Beimel coming out. 4-1 Milwaukee. Still nobody out, and the bases loaded. Runs are in. It's 4-1. Still bases loaded. Still nobody out. And a reminder, kids 14 and under, you can join the Brewers Kids Club presented by Associated Bank for only $25. Receive the official club cap, wallet, poster, water bottle, ID and lanyard, plus 6 Terrace Reserve ticket vouchers. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com to join. The new pitcher is Jose Veras. It's a double switch for the Pirates. Veras on for the 19th occasion this year, facing Casey McGee.
Yeah, one common theme in this Pirates bullpen, they all come out with pretty good numbers. As a group, the Pirates bullpen at 2.89 ERA.
Xavier Paul takes over in right field, and he'll hit 9th. Infield in for the Pirates. Nobody out. And McGee takes one upstairs. So RBIs in this inning from Counsell and Fielder. Pirates have had a miscue defensively, a close call that went against them. The Brewers are still at it. Milwaukee a knockout punch away from making this one a cruiser. McGee had a hit his last time up. He pulled one in the hole between third and short. 2 career grand slams. And that one is roasted foul. Boy, McGee squared it up but got out ahead of it. And it's 2-1. That one had to hurt up in the stands. Yikes.
One hop skips off the tarp, and that probably left a mark somewhere.
Ed Cedar had no trouble ducking. Too bad it was already by him. Pirates want the force at the plate. Oh, breaking ball. McGee recognized it, but cuts right through. 2-2.
That's a nice breaking pitch. Veras 6'5", 235 pounds. He's a big kid. And a good breaking pitch. He's been with a number of teams.
He's turned the tables on McGee here. Now the count back in his favor. And the 2-2 outside. McGee doesn't chase. Veras was with the Marlins last year. Came up with the Yankees. Full count. McGee, a bouncer, a fair ball. That's just inside the bag. 1 run in. Here comes Braun with the second. Fielder to third. Casey McGee delivers. A 2 RBI double for McGee. 6-1 Brewers.
One of those innings for the Brewers. They're getting all the close calls. They're getting, base hits that are just barely fair. A hanging breaking ball from Veras, and Casey able to do a good job of getting the barrel of the bat on it and keeping it fair, just fair down that left field line. Well, not by much, maybe an inch. 2 runs in, still nobody out.
Boy, right on the bag, as close as you can get. 6-1, still nobody out. And here is Katse with runners at second and third. Veras in there for a strike. At the plate, presented by Wendy's for Mark Katse today. Katse singled in the second, doubled in the sixth. Knocked one over the head of McCutchen in the 6th inning. Had a good cut.
Bounces right in front of home plate. Let's check it out. Alfonso Marquez right on it and calls it fair.
Scored 2. Second and third for Katse. The 0-2 pitch. In the air to left. Fielder's going to tag. This could be fun. Tabata makes the catch, and fielder won't attempt. And Ryan Domet says, "Thank you very much." That could have been a collision for the ages. Prince Fielder and Ryan Domet.
Which is why Eddie Cedar, with a 6-1 lead, said, I'm not going to even chance it.
Very good point.
If it was 2-1, 2-2, you would have had your collision.
That would have been of comic book variety right there. I know Fielder enjoys the contact. I'm not sure about Domet on the receiving end.
Well, he really hasn't shown any problems with contact against the Brewers. He's hung right in there on a number of occasions.
Suddenly Brandon Boggs has turned into Barry Bonds today. The second time he's been intentionally walked after he homered in the 4th. And they're going to give Jonathan Lucroy a chance at redemption. So the Pirates will take a chance, try to get out of the inning. Well, Prince Fielder has done a number of opponents over the years. We had one earlier this season with Brett Wallace of the Astros. Fielder dropped a 260-pound Brett Wallace. Wallace had to come out of that game and had an injured hip.
Two tough guys. Yeah, Wallace missed the next game, and Prince Fielder, knock on wood, always seems to come out of those unscathed. At least he has up to this point.
Here's Lucroy again. Bases loaded, 1 out. Same situation. He was at the plate in the 6th inning. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play. It's been a frustrating day offensively for Lucroy. But he has a chance to add to it. And it also brings into focus how a catcher can contribute even when he's not hitting. Think about all of the pitches that Lucroy has blocked, especially last inning when the Pirates had men on base. And that's like hitting a home run for a catcher when you save a run by blocking pitches in the dirt.
And not only that, the signs you hang down there for the pitcher. Well, good job yesterday. And only 1 run on the board today for Pittsburgh. Can't do it every day at the plate. Nobody can.
Four runs are in. Bases loaded, 1 out. Lucroy in a hole at 1-2. And a fastball just missed. Not by much. The wheels are spinning for Lucroy. Hoping for a mistake. That one's into shallow left center. That's going to fall. A base hit. Fielder will score as Jonathan Lucroy delivers an RBI. And the beat keeps going for Milwaukee. The 9th batter of the inning. And it's 7-1 Crew.
Well, hangs right in there in a breaking ball. Got it off the end of the bat, but able to dump it into left field for an RBI. 7-1 Brewers. Still only 1 out. The Brewers have batted around. They're reaching for it. Got it down toward the end, but able to muscle it out there in the left field. And Corey Hart, the pinch hitter that started this for the Brewers, is going to get another at bat.
So Hart, a rare second at bat after pinch hitting. He doubled and scored the 3rd run of the game. 10th batter in the inning. Hart ripped one into the gap in left center. Brewers are 1 off their club high for runs in an inning. They scored 6 in an inning against Philadelphia back on April 19th in Philly. Hart, little cue shot foul like a cricket swing. Fouls it off. It's 0-2. Zach Greinke tomorrow. We'll have the finale tomorrow afternoon.
It's always exciting when he's out on the mound. Boy, he looked good his last time out.
Greinke and Kevin Correa, who has been one of the Pirates' best pitchers and their opening day starter. Be a good matchup tomorrow. 7-1 Milwaukee. Here's the 0-2, and Hart just gets a piece. Fouls it off Ryan Doman.
As if the day has not been long enough for Ryan Doman. You get one right there. Turn your head.
Oh. It's got to leave a mark.
Man. Bingo. Again.
And our director Michael Odino, producer Chris Withers in the torture chamber in the truck. Ball and 2 strikes. We kid because we care.
We kid because we've been there.
If you've ever caught a game, you know exactly what Doman's going through. Although I think there was a bit of a deflection there. It wasn't, as they say,
like it matters.
The flush hit.
Like it matters.
Wasn't the direct contact. Bases loaded for Hart. Still just 1 out. And it got him on a breaking ball. Out number 2. Hart down on strikes.
And that sweeping breaking ball is a pitch that at times Corey struggles with, particularly when he hasn't really had that many at bats. We were talking about once he dials in on those breaking pitches, then it's going to be time for Corey to put up the big numbers.
Ricky Weeks back to the top of the order. Another slider from Veras. McCutchen started the inning, Daniel McCutchen, then Joe Beimel, and then Veras. The Brewers have 5 runs in. RBIs from Counsell and Fielder, 2 from McGee. Lucroy with an RBI. One off the season high. Half of those runs in that 6-run inning against Philadelphia came against Roy Halladay. Two and 1 to Weeks. Ricky with a hit today is 1 for 4. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 7th inning. It's 3 and 1. Nowhere to put him. Weeks will dial one in here. Counsell would be next. Boy, how things can change. Pirates were threatening in the top of the 7th. It was a 2-1 game. Hawkins got out of it, and the Brewers, getting the benefit of some calls and some good luck, have opened it up as Ricky takes a strike, a breaking ball on the 3-1 pitch with the bases loaded.
No, that's been his best pitch the entire inning. That's the one he's been throwing the most. And he threw one right down the middle. But how do you expect anybody to look for that on a 3-1 pitch?
All the runners will take off with the pitch. Full count, 2 outs. There they go. Weeks takes a fastball strike. The inning is over. But the Brewers put 5 across. 7-1 Milwaukee. A fun half hour of hitting for the Brewers. We head to the 8th.
At Miller Park, ending the series still with some wet weather, at least rain and drizzle earlier on, then showers towards the end of the game. First pitch temperature chilly at 46.
And the roof will be closed tomorrow, apparently. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Tomorrow it's the Pirates, the final game of the series. Zach Greinke against Kevin Correa. Great pitching matchup tomorrow. Greinke with his second start at Miller Park. 12:30 is airtime for Brewers Live, and then the Brewers head to Los Angeles, starting a series with the Dodgers on Monday, just a 2-gamer. 2 of the Dodgers, 2 of the Padres, right back here Friday night at Miller Park. Hope you'll make plans to be with us. Mitch Stetter, good opportunity for him in a 7-1 game to get it dialed in again. Stetter will face Lyle Overbay to start the 8th inning. A 5-run 7th for the Brewers. Stetter in a bit of a funk right now on the mound. He's been used primarily to retire a left-handed batter in a key spot late in a game and has not been able to do that in his last 3 outings.
Having tough times controlling his slider, getting behind the count. He last pitched on Wednesday against the Padres. Allowed a single to the only batter that he faced. That was Brad Hopp, a left-hander.
And Hopp drew a walk-off Stetter the night before. So a good opportunity here for Stetter to work on a few things. Cameron Lowe in the bullpen getting loose. A couple of days off. There's a fine line between Cameron Lowe. There's been a lot of talk about Lowe being used so much, but as a sinker baller, Lowe is a guy who he can't go too many days without pitching. Overbay rips one down the right field line and foul.
Well, you figure Mitch Stetter is going to be in there for Overbay and Alvarez, and then you see that Cameron Lowe is getting up. Got a number of right-handed batters coming up. Mitch Stetter does not very often pitch an entire inning. He's only done it twice. Comes in for a left-hander or 2, and that's it.
Well, last night Marco Estrada went 2 scoreless for the Brewers, bridging the gap to Axford in the 9th, and that really set up the bullpen for Ron Renicky here, and it allows him to mix and match, do some of the things he likes to do. But I can understand that it's a little confusing when you hear so much talk about Lowe and how much he's pitched, and the fact that he talked his way into the game on Wednesday, and yet you see him again. But it's been 2 days, and he's a guy who needs to work. You have to monitor the multiple days.
Yeah, as you mentioned, fine line between feeling too good and getting some deserved rest. A lot of times when a sinker baller like Lowe is feeling too strong, you maybe give him 2-3 days rest. I mean, everything's come out of the hand. It's going to be flat. That's when he leaves pitches up in the zone. You get that fatigue factor, and you get the good sink.
Two and two. Overbay sends one deep to right. That is way back and way out. Lyle Overbay. A home run for the Pirates. It's his 3rd home run of the year. Stetter's woes continue against left-handed batters.
I just can't get that slider down and away. And he's trying to work it. You saw some frustration on the face of Mitch Stetter during that at bat. A couple of pitches that Overbay fouled off, but did not miss this one. That was supposed to be away. Look where Lucroy's setting up, and watch where it ends up. Middle in, and he whacks it on out of here. And Mitch has got to start getting left-handers out.
Here's Alvarez. That one's inside. And because Stetter is a guy you only use typically for 1 batter or sometimes 2 batters if they're back-to-back. If he's not retiring the left-handers, he takes up a big spot in that bullpen, because right now the Brewers carrying 8 relievers. They've just placed Kinsler on the disabled list. Their other left-hander, Zach Braddock, is probably another week away from returning. He's not going to join the club on the road. And Manny Parra is still not available. Parra coming back from a bit of a problem with his elbow, which started with a problem in his back. So the Brewers are a little hamstrung here with left-handed pitching.
So you use these opportunities right here in a game like this. Not that it's over by any stretch. I mean, a 5-run lead, very possible for the Pirates to come back. But you put Stetter out there, you give him some at-bats, and hopefully he figures it out.
Well, that's what he needed. That was still up in the zone, and Alvarez just missed it. A strikeout. First out of the inning.
He wanted down and away, and he got it away somewhat, but it was up in the zone. Alvarez underneath.
Zach Greinke had a successful Miller Park debut. Zach Greinke.
You love the way he attacks hitters. I mean, he just goes after you with everything he has. And that can be contagious on an entire pitching staff.
Greinke picked up his first win in the National League. Going to start against Padres on Monday. I think Greinke is maybe laughing at the braced smile of Ronnie Cedeno. I don't know, does Cedeno still have the braces? Who knows? It's big news when Zach Greinke. That's practically a belly laugh from Zach Greinke right there. You're wondering what he's laughing at.
Who knows what he's laughing at?
Oh, we know. Telly's down there. He's digging it all up. Way inside.
Giving himself a nice carb load before his start tomorrow. The power bar.
Zach TV. Cameras are always on. Shallow center, and that is going to fall, a base hit. Cedeno on base for the third time. So a base runner with one away. 7-2, the Brewers lead it. And Xavier Paul will hit.
And you figure this will be the last hitter for Mitch Stetter. Got a steady diet of right-handed hitters coming up.
Paul came in on a double switch in the middle of the 7th inning. Long 7th for the Brewers. Brewers brought 10 men to the plate. They scored 5 runs on 4 hits. Some adventuresome base running. In the air to left. Braun was playing shallow, and he's right there for it. Out number 2.
Well, the off-outfielder plays a little bit more shallow than the right fielder with a left-hander up, and Ryan Braun able to make the catch easily. Another pitch off the end of the bat.
So Stetter gets 2 outs. Ron Renicky on his way to make the change. Cameron Lowe will enter. And a pitching change at Miller Park. We'll take a break. We'll set up Cameron Lowe when we come back. And the Pirates, game 2 of the series. It's 7-2 Milwaukee. And Cameron Lowe is on to work. Mitch Stetter is out. Stetter 2/3 of an inning, gives up a run on a home run. And Lowe trying to finish it off here. Inherits a base runner. His 21st game of the season, Cameron Lowe.
Yeah, that ranks 5th in the National League in appearances out of the bullpen. So he has worked quite a bit. 21st appearance of the Brewers, 39 games, and we're in mid-May.
And that said, I'm sure Lowe excited to get back on the mound, anxious to get back on the mound after a rough day Wednesday against San Diego. You don't want him sitting on that much longer. So Lowe against Andrew McCutchen. Pirates back to the top of their order. This game just had the feeling, you know, it was trending towards a big inning somewhere. Both teams putting a lot of runners on base, having opportunities to score runs.
Both teams have combined to strand 19 batters, not including this inning.
Yeah, the Pirates had multiple runners stranded in 4 different innings. And the big one was the 7th. Hawkins gave up a leadoff double, then a walk. Got a big double play. It was a close call at first, a controversial call. Clint Hurdle, the Pirates manager, ejected. Hawkins got out of the mess. The Brewers then put 5 on the board.
And a number of very close calls in that inning. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. And those are the kind of things that, you know, play into a stretch that the Brewers have been able to put together against the Pirates. You get the calls, you get the confidence, things go your way. That's the only way you can dominate a team over that long of a period of time. I mean, you got to get some breaks.
Milwaukee has won 31 of the last 34 against the Pirates. That one skips away from Lucroy. Cedeno to second. Just an incredible run of success against Pittsburgh. And I'm sure Pirates fans, especially after watching the way this game has unfolded, have to be wondering, is there something to it? Because the Brewers, there have been a lot of close games in this sequence too since 07. A lot of close games. Final at-bat wins. Dramatic home runs. Two balls, 2 strikes on McCutchen. Bouncing ball. McGee's got it. Long throw with a speedy runner, and fielder hangs in there. Out at first. Fielder kept a toe on the bag. And a good play by McGee to end the 8th. Nicely done on a 5-3 putout. Pirates get a run. 7-2 Milwaukee. He head to the home half of the 8th inning, courtesy of a 5-run 7th. Milwaukee has stretched their lead. Jose Escanio is in the game. He's got a good arm. We saw him yesterday. Escanio, a scoreless inning with a couple of strikeouts yesterday.
It came off the disabled list on Wednesday. 15-day DL, rehabbing from right shoulder surgery. That was back on October of 2009, so it's been a while for Escanio, and he looked pretty good in his appearance last night.
Craig Counsell will lead off. Another big story today when we arrived at the ballpark, just checking the lineup, and Renicky going with his bench players. Craig and Davey touched on it, and they'll have more on that on Brewers Live post game. But Counsell, Kotze, and Brandon Boggs all in the starting lineup, and all contributing today. Counsell had a double and drove in a run with a safety squeeze in the 7th inning, reached on a fielder's choice, and he scored a run as well. Kotze with 2 hits. Brandon Boggs had a home run.
Yeah, the big blow coming back in that 7th inning, that Casey McGee double to score a couple of runs with the bases loaded. That opened it up for Milwaukee.
Well, among the regulars, Ryan Braun is the only one without a hit in this game, but he walked and scored in that 5-run 7th. Prince Fielder is homered today. So far so good in front of a sellout crowd at Miller Park. 42,422. Great crowd on a Saturday afternoon, and thank goodness for the roof. Saved another one today.
Yeah.
It's miserable outside right now.
Yeah, Cubs have a night game at Wrigley. Good luck with that.
I don't know. Counsell lifts one in the air, right field, over his Paul, and the first out.
They say the weather is going to be even worse tomorrow, right?
Yep, it's going to be in the low 40s.
Right.
And raining, not the high 40s.
So you wouldn't figure that the weather's going to get any better tonight. It's going to get worse.
Doesn't matter.
What do we care?
It's great. What a great ballpark it is. Not just because of the roof. It's a great venue. You can walk all the way around. Keep your eyes on the game. That's one of the best parts about Miller Park. You go to the concession stand, you can still keep your eyes on the action on the field. There's a lot of room in the concourses.
Best in the league, and we've seen them all.
Field's always in great shape, immaculate condition.
And we say that we're certainly no bias.
No bias.
Completely objective.
The best of both worlds. Everybody's anxious to get that roof open. Get some warmer weather here as Braun lifts one deep right center. That is way back and gone. Ryan Braun gets into the act. His 11th home run of the year. That ties him for the National League lead. And it is 8-2 Brewers as Braun goes deep.
He heard you. He heard you say he's the only one in the starting lineup without a hit. Boy, has he got some kind of power to the opposite field. Check this one out. Down in the zone, middle in, and look at Ryan able to get down on it. He's got that stiff front leg, a little bit of a bend in that back knee, and rides it on out of here into the Pirates bullpen. Some kind of power for Ryan Braun.
First home run of the month. On the 14th of May, his last home run came against Brett Myers of the Astros, and Braun continues to climb an impressive list. Now 139. This is the list for the first 5 seasons, and some of the legendary sluggers in the game on this list, most of them Hall of Famers. Fielder launches, and Prince will watch this one end up as an out. Oh, Prince.
Down on the end of the bat. Yeah, Prince knew it right away. He didn't get it. Scanio took a little off, and Prince a little bit on the end of the bat. Gave it a good ride, but not enough.
Second out of the inning. So on a day when both Fielder and Braun homer. Casey, a bouncing ball. Cedeno's got it. Inning is over. We head to the ninth. Last call for the Pirates. The Brewers have stretched it out in the late innings, and Ryan Braun adds to it. His leading 11th homer. It's 8-2. They have all gone the Brewers' way today for sure. 8-2 Milwaukee. They lead the Pirates as we head to the ninth inning in front of a sellout crowd, and on a day when Fielder and Braun both go deep. Fun day at the ballpark for Brewers fans. Brewers are in the middle of a long stretch without an off day, 13 consecutive. As you see the new pitcher Mike McClendon trying to finish this one off. Brewers had an off day Thursday, looking to make it back-to-back wins against the Pirates, set themselves up for an opportunity at a sweep tomorrow. Pittsburgh will send out one of their best pitchers, Kevin Correa. Zach Greinke for Milwaukee tomorrow. On the air at 12:30 with Brewers Live.
That military day here at the ballpark. You know, the Brewers and Pirates will wear camouflage baseball caps tomorrow.
That'll be a great day, expecting a big crowd. And a chance for us to recognize and honor all of those serving in our armed forces.
And the Brewers providing seats for 15,000 military personnel and their families. You see more and more of that as we go around baseball. And they deserve it.
Little jam shot over to Fielder. Talada is retired, one away. Well, Mike McClendon an opportunity to get some work.
And McClendon's really only had the one bad outing and allowed only one base runner and 4 innings of work with the Brewers. This year got roughed up against the Padres. An inning and 2/3, he gave up 3 runs. That's why you see that ERA near 5. One bad outing with not a lot of work. Shoots that ERA up quickly.
McClendon had an inning and 2/3 against San Diego. Prior to that, he pitched in St. Louis back on the 6th of May. A 3-inning performance. There's a swing and a miss. Neil Walker 0 for 3 with a walk. And that's going to sneak through a base hit. So Walker with his first hit. All right, Rock, what do you think? Our Menards player of the game at this point? Prince Fielder. 2 hits, a home run, 2 driven in. He scored twice. His home run put the Brewers on the board for the first time in the 4th inning.
Yep, I agree with Fielder. It could be a lot of different players. I tell you, that Casey McGee double was a big hit.
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't have a.
I thought Chris Narveson.
You didn't have a vote.
I am just, just throwing in my 2 cents. I do analyze everything that goes on in these broadcasts. How about Narveson did a pretty good job.
Yes, he did.
Limiting the Pirates to 1 run. We always forget about the starting pitcher.
In line for his 2nd win. No, we don't choose the Menards players of the game. We just facilitate. You and I. We know our place.
I was just looking around and looking in the box score saying, boy, it was a well spread around offense. And
might be a good team day.
Fielder got the Brewers on the board.
Excellent analysis. Could make a strong case, though, for a number of players. Casey McGee drove in 2 runs. How about Stan Kiles? He deserves our Menards coach of the game today. A wild pitch sends Walker over to second base.
Yeah, next time I'll realize that, when you announce the player of the game, then I'll just stay quiet. I didn't know I was going to get scolded for analyzing the player of the game. It's okay.
The scolding can come quickly.
And I learned from it.
From the truck.
It's the one thing that I do know. I do know my place.
Just to clarify, the scolding is not coming from the play-by-play side of the broadcast.
Oh, I know.
I'm just clarifying for our fans.
Oh, for the fans? Okay, yeah.
It's the conversations that you don't hear at home.
Like it's not debatable. Right. That type of thing.
The yelling and the gnashing of teeth in the truck. Counsell takes care of Domet. Silent but violent in the truck. Where's the truck cam anyway? We haven't broken out the truck cam in a while. Chris Withers, Michael Odino, all tucked away in the truck.
Why don't we give him that camera that's honed in on us for 9 innings?
Watching our every move. Pirates down to their last out. It's been great having you with us today. Hopefully you'll come back tomorrow. The Brewers and the Pirates, final game of the series. And Zach Greinke on the mound. Hawk's got his instructional stripes on. How's the instructional going to be today?
It has nothing to do with the instructional, what I'm wearing right now. This is my Miller Lite appearance garb.
Do those come with goggles?
I'll need them tomorrow.
Two and one. Brewers an out away from improving to 12-6 at Miller Park. Everybody's screaming today as Garrett Jones draws a walk. So this one continues. 8-2 Milwaukee. McClendon with a hit and a walk allowed, and he'll face Lyle Overbay. The day started with the Cardinals at the top of the division by a half a game over the Reds. And despite a late rally by St. Louis, the Reds hung on to win today 7-3. Cincinnati wins behind Johnny Cueto, who's now 2-0. Kyle McClellan lost for the first time this year. So the Reds are in first place now, half a game ahead of the Cardinals. And a win today for the Brewers keeps them 4 back in the Central. And Ron Renicky is not pleased and is on his way to the mound.
Yeah, this will definitely be a one-way discussion between the Brewers manager and his relief pitcher.
Well, we'll see if McClendon has in mind for Overbay, who homered his last time up. 2-0 to count. And the last thing Renicky wants to do is get Axford active in the bullpen.
Well, one more base runner becomes a save situation for Axford. Actually, 2 more base runners.
Axford earned the save last night, his 8th of the year. 3 balls and a strike on Overbay. Remember, earlier on the homestand against San Diego, the Brewers had an 8-0 lead. And on 2 occasions, the Padres brought the tying run to the plate. Overbay rolls one over 2 weeks, and that's it. The Brewers win again. They beat the Pirates for the 8th consecutive time at Miller Park. They go to 32 of the last 35 against the Pirates. How about that? 8-2 the final score. Narveson the winner. Much more still to come on this game. Craig Kashan standing by. What do you have coming up for us on Brewers Live, Craig?
Well, we're going to talk about that dominance one more time because the Brewers get one more win against the Pirates. Get inside that clubhouse, talk with Ron Renicky as well. Our on-field instructional is going to be a good one. Davey and Rock may have a guest. Stay with us on Brewers.